Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, you two.
Shannon better be sharp today.
Good morning, Jenny. How you doing today?
Yeah.
Great. You look sharp,
No,
too.
I'm talking not look, be. You got to be sharp. Always?
Always. And I hate using
That's
that
not
term.
what Twitter told you.
No,
right?
let's see what they say.
Let's see what they say.
They say, oh, you doing it. Yeah, they say,
Shannon, you got to be Unk. Where's Unk? We need Unk.
Yeah, where's he been?
Unk has been, I don't know, he disappeared.
He be back.
You know who made him disappear? That number 12 up in Foxborough.
Whatever.
He made him disappear.
Right now, there's only one person trending more than me.
Really?
And that would be one Miss Nancy Pelosi.
Oh.
Yeah, she's the only one trending more than me.
Who knew?
Yeah, but I'm going to get her.
You're
all over
trending?
it.
Yeah, I'm going to get her.
Oh, for what?
Don't worry about all this. Skip.
Because
There
of
you
your
go.
clashing outfit
Ain't
or
no
what?
clash.
I don't know. I don't
I think I
know.
look quite dapper than that.
It's busier than the 405,
dapper.
but it's okay.
That's a nice way to
Well,
put
that's
it.
okay.
Yeah.
On
Your day
today's
coming.
show, do the Saints need to move on from Sunday's missed call? And what is with LeBron and Kawhi? Are they ever going to play again? Will we ever
That's a
see a
great
celebration
question. I can't
from
wait
this
for
guy
that.
again?
Yeah.
But either way, we're going to start with Tom Brady. He is headed to his 9th Super Bowl, and we all know he is 41 years old. He said in the past that he can see himself playing until his mid-40s, but that might not be the case, according to our own Jay Glazer. Jay wrote that he can see Brady and Belichick retiring together if they beat the Rams, and he added that he has a, quote, gut feeling that Brady will retire before Drew Brees. Brees turned 40 last week, but he said he's pretty positive he'll be back next season. So, Shannon, can you see Brady retiring before Brees?
No, and given the way that Breeze played over the last 6 weeks of the season, and even in this playoff, in this NFC Championship game, no, I cannot. Skip, here's the thing. When you look at these Brady and Tom Brady, Drew Brees and Tom Brady were two of the three least sacked quarterbacks in all of football. Drew Brees finished number 1. Tom Brady finished number 3. Both guys have dominant run games. So if you're going to tell me they're going to get protected like they got protected, they're going to be able to run the football like they run the football, and you know how all the rules are set up for the offensive guys, how you can't hit the quarterback and you can't hit the receivers. Both of these guys can play. Now, I'm going to stick by mine because I've said this once they got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo up in New England, that I believe Tom Brady will play 20 seasons and that will be it. But given the way he's looked especially the last 2 weeks, the dominant run game, he's been untouched. 90 pass attempts, 2 knockdowns, no sacks. Sonny Michel is running the football as well as any running back has ran it in the playoffs.
I don't know about that C.J. Dickerson guy with the Rams. I don't know.
Well,
that guy is dominant.
Here's the thing, though, Skip.
Moving.
C.J. had that one great game against Dallas.
Yep.
Sonny Michel has put 2 of these things together. One at home, one on the road against Kansas City. Skip, I just don't see Coach Belichick and Tom Brady retiring at the same time because so much is at stake here. One needs to stay longer in order to receive more of the credit. You go out at the same time, it's going to be the question. You and I both know a part of this, Coach Belichick wants to see if he can win a title without Tom Brady.
Yep.
Tom Brady wants to hang around and see if he can win a title without Bill Belichick.
He does.
I just do not see both of these guys going out at the same time. And as far as Brees, Drew Brees did not look good the last 6 weeks. And I don't know if we were to look at these two guys, I don't know if Brady's worst was as bad as Drew Brees' worst. And that, I don't know how to, define
I know.
worst versus worst.
I
But
know
when
where
you
you're
look
going
at
with
it,
that. Yeah.
So given that neither guy took a whole lot of big hits this year, Brady has been even more protected come playoff time than he was in the regular season. And that's saying something, considering he was only sacked 21 times. I just don't see it. Skip, and I'll go back to that Dallas game. From the Dallas game on, Drew Brees threw 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Yep.
That's not Drew Brees like, considering at that point in time, Skip, I think he only had 1 interception at the time, and he had like a quarterback rating. Aaron Rodgers has the highest quarterback rating for a season, 122.5.
Yep.
Drew Brees was something like 125, 127 at that point in time. And then at the end of the season, he wasn't even close to that. So with that being said, if you have to make me say it right now, I believe Tom Brady will outlast Drew Brees.
By how much? Gut feeling.
Probably a year, 2 years. A year. I got Brady going out.
You almost went to 2.
I know, I saw that.
I got Brady going out in year 20. Year 20, he walks away.
Okay. The one man in sports I do not bet against is Thomas Edward. I don't have to do that.
Patrick.
Do it, I like it.
I'll do the whole. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady.
Yeah.
He says again and again and again, he's on the record, I'm playing until I'm 45. That's at least 2 more seasons.
No, it's more than 2.
Huh?
No, he's
Well,
only
let's do
41
3.
now.
Let's do. It'd be 3.
4.
Okay, 3. It'd be up to 45. However you want to.
43, 44,
Okay.
45. That's 4 more years.
Okay, I believe he'll do 4 more years.
Huh?
And I believe he'll play at least 2 more years than Drew Brees plays. And I'm not sure if it's going to be Drew Brees' choice to play or not to play, because that's what's getting fascinating in New Orleans.
Right.
I am with you about the drop-off. So if you look at Tom Brady's season versus Drew Brees' season, Tom Brady's season went like this, right? Mm-hmm. Drew Brees' season went like this. Right?
Yeah.
So Tom Brady got better and better and better, and then he peaked right on time because Tom Brady knows how to do this. He knows how it works. Shannon Sharpe knows how it works.
Yep.
He's been there and done all that 3 different times. You won 3 Super Bowls. You were 3 for 3. And what happened every time? Your team peaked right on time, and your team was relatively healthy, I'll bet.
Yes.
I don't know
Yes.
exactly
We
the
were.
circumstance.
We were.
You weren't, unfortunately, for the Atlanta Super Bowl.
Right.
But your team was relatively healthy, and it got hot at
Yes.
the right time.
Yes.
And Tom Brady knew if we can just start to, again, they had the Bills and the Jets to end the year. So they knew if they could start to build off those 2 kind of practice
Right.
games and feel pretty good about yourself. And then they just clicked and got hot against the Chargers, and they got even hotter at Kansas City in the cold.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, they're back in the Super Bowl because Tom Brady was going like this. And he saved his 2 best games for last.
Correct.
Right? Because I don't think you can argue Chargers-Chiefs were his 2 best games of the whole year.
No question.
Because you've made the case again and again. Well, he was teetering here, and he was just average here, and
Yes.
he wasn't Tom Brady here and here and here.
Right.
But all of a sudden, he was vintage Tom Brady. I don't think I've ever seen him better than he was against the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Especially that overtime drive.
Yeah.
The overtime drive might have been one of his best drives ever.
3 straight 3rd and 10 conversions.
Yep.
Hard to do
Yep.
on the road in
Yes.
the cold with a
Yes.
big crosswind.
Yep.
So, Drew Brees, did he hit the wall? Did he fall off the proverbial cliff as they talk about players just hitting that age wall? Look, for the first 11 games this year, he wasn't just good, Drew Brees. He was all-time great. He was on pace to set the all-time QBR record through 11 games. Mm-hmm. And then he hit a wall in Dallas, Texas, actually in Arlington, Texas, but against my Dallas Cowboys on a fateful Thursday night, and he never quite recovered. He never got the heat back. He never got on any kind of a roll after that. His QBR going into that game was, for the whole year, was 82, which is extreme.
Yes.
And then from there on, in the 4 games he played to end the regular season, he was a QBR of 50. So it wasn't a disaster, but it just wasn't what you became accustomed to.
Correct.
And then in the 2 playoff games, he was hit and miss.
Yeah.
Maybe a little better against the Rams. Got hit in the mouth and threw the interception that
Right.
ended the game in overtime. But again, did he have a terrible year overall? No. No, he didn't.
No.
So, and I try to go back and look at the last 5 years for Brees and Brady. I see no decline. I can't show you QBR where I say, oh, look what's happening. They're in decline. Age has caught up. Nope, it hasn't caught up to either one of them because their QBRs just stay pretty much the
Right.
same. And then the aberration, the outlier is this year for Drew Brees. It just spikes.
Right.
Okay? So I can't argue decisively that he hit the wall.
Right.
And I don't think you can either.
No, and I think the thing is, Skip, when you look at it, you're not going to see precipitous drop-off because neither one of these guys rely solely on their arms. They were never big arm quarterbacks. So everything, and if you look at how they do things, now they rely a little bit more on the run than what they did in the
Yeah.
past. And both of these guys, they spend a lot of time around the edges too now.
Okay.
It's not like they're going deep.
All right? To my eye, and I've told you this repeatedly and consistently, Drew Brees has lost some arm strength over the last couple of years.
Okay.
It doesn't look the same to me. And he's a smaller guy at 6 foot-ish, sort of just a little, maybe he's a touch above 6 feet. So he has to dredge it up, but he has to reach back a little harder.
He has to use more javelin.
Tom Brady is 6 feet 4 inches tall, and it's more effortless for him. And this is just me, and I know we went back and forth all year. I just can't see a drop off in velocity. I just don't. I don't see a drop off in accuracy. I don't see Father Time tapping Tom Brady on the shoulder.
Well, Skip, the thing is, and not a whole lot of drop off, but I don't see him. There have been times that you watched also that you saw him unwilling to drive the football because pressure was coming. That's what I'm saying when he's flinched. I mean, his arms, he's never Brett Favre.
Okay, is that just a product of experience, of self-preservation, where you just learn, I'm not going to last if I try that. I can get away with this, but I can't even try that. I'm not even going to risk fate on that one.
Right.
I'm not going to step into that pass rusher and get hit in the face.
Well, sometimes you have to stare down that barrel, Skip.
All right. Sometimes you do, but you have to pick your spots.
I agree.
How important is it? If he had to pick a spot at Kansas City where Chris Jones had come free right in his face and he had to stand in and throw it, I will bet you he would try that.
You're probably
okay?
right.
But he didn't need to, didn't have to. And I'm going to point out again, if you look at the playoffs, the 2 playoff games each of these 2 quarterbacks played, Brady was getting rid of the ball in 2.18 seconds in the 2 playoff games. Breeze in his 2 playoff games, 2.56 seconds. And you say, that's minuscule. It's not.
No, it's not.
It's a lot of time that Breeze is holding the ball longer, so he's going to get hit more. And he got sacked 4 times in the 2 playoff games.
That's the difference between going to the first option immediately and then holding the ball and going to the second option.
Right.
Second option sometimes will get you hit in the mouth.
Okay.
The first option will always get you free released.
Okay, so to your point about longevity, figuring out, like, to me, this position is unmasterable. It's just too hard to play. But Tom Brady has come the closest to mastering the position of quarterback. That's mentally as well as physically, where he's figured out, if I can get rid of the ball in 2.1 seconds, I can keep doing this for 4 more years.
Right.
But that's hard to do because you have to make the choice very quickly. So your brain, you're so evolved mentally that you're able to, you're thinking faster than the defense can play. You're thinking faster than they can rush you or they can cover you.
Well, that's only,
somebody's going to be open and he's finding the open.
2.1 second only goes into effect if you're able to throw the ball to your first option.
Yep.
If Julian Edelman comes up or you're swinging the ball to the running back out of the backfield.
Okay.
If the second option, if you have to go to the second option, it's not going to be 2.1 seconds.
But he's choosing his option pre-snap.
Right.
He's just reading. He's figuring you out before you even know what you're doing exactly. And he's saying, I know, like on the Gronk play in overtime, the third and 10 conversion, he just says, you're going to single it. Remember, he split him out left, right?
Right.
And he just said, really? You're going to single him? And I got him on an in-breaking route?
Correct.
You can't cover that because I know him. I trust him there, and I know I can throw it where he can catch it.
And plus, he sees plus he sees Eric Berry playing off cover.
Okay, so what I'm saying is he said he picked it before.
Yes.
I don't even know if that was the play called. It might have been called to Edelman. The primary might have been Edelman. It could have been Philip Dorsett or Hogan on that play.
No, if you notice, they didn't throw to Dorsett not once in that.
Okay, but I'm saying he's reading that pre-snap. That's his choice.
Yes.
He just decided, I'm going to throw it to him. And I promise you the ball's gone in 2 seconds to Rob Gronkowski. So he's picked the correct way. A lot of quarterbacks might not be able to read it and decide on it that quickly. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why he's got longevity. But I'm also going to point out to you, this year, this football season, this regular season, Tom Brady threw it 570 times. He's had 8 seasons in which he threw fewer passes. So don't tell me he's just saying, I'm going to hand it off now, right?
No.
Okay, so they threw it 570 and ran it 478. Pretty good balance, but still leaning to pass, right? In the postseason, in 2 games, they've thrown it 90 and run it 82. Pretty good balance, but still leaning to pass. What has Sean McVay done in the 2 playoff games? Well, wait a second. He's rushed it 74 times and thrown it 69 times. So they're reversed slightly. So they have run it. That's probably thanks to my Dallas Cowboys, especially in the first half, where they just said, let's just keep doing this, right? But they have become a run-oriented football team. So, but you can't tell me that Tom Brady is just handing it off now because he's not. He's still throwing it a lot.
No. But the running game it'll allow you protection from the blitz because a lot of times when you play action, if you notice, you mentioned it the other day, Tom Brady spent a lot of his time under center.
He did.
When you go under center.
At least 50% he was under center.
You can fake it to the running back.
can.
It's a big difference between, Skip, faking a handoff from under the center
It is.
and then faking it when the guys are
Totally
offset
agree.
back.
and it's a great way to stall the pass rush.
Yes.
Because if it's right in your face and you turn and fake it, and if you're good with, and he's slick with the ball, he's a good faker. So if you hold them for just 1 second, where they have to wait just a second before they can spring.
Right. And plus, it's because they were running the ball so effectively. The line has to hold in there. They just can't get up the field, because you remember when they were getting up the field, they were getting hit with the draw. They were getting hit with screens. So now I got to hesitate just a bit. The second level, you see those backers stepping up, and now all of a sudden that's Julian Edelman coming in on an in-breaking route before where the linebacker should have been. So the running game is not necessarily meant, Skip. Sometimes it's meant to protect the quarterback, because now I can fake it and I can still throw the passes without having that rush breathing down my neck.
Okay. So now to the deciding factor, which will be off the field. What do you always tell me about why did you stop playing? At some point, you just finally said, I just don't love this anymore.
Didn't want to go to meetings anymore.
I don't want to do it anymore. I've had enough of this. I also think you get so battered. Your body gets battered to the point where you just say, I don't love this. I'm ready to go on and do something else with my life. Well, I don't think either of these two guys are there, but they both have off-the-field responsibilities that Tom seems to have been able to put in some juggling act perspective, where, remember, they both got kids. Tom has 3 under the age of 11, and Drew has 4 under the age of 10. He's got 3 sons and the youngest is a daughter, but 4 under the age of 10. Okay, at what point does Drew Brees, he loves to coach his kids' flag football team. At what point does he finally say, I just want to be with my kids? What if the daughter could be playing sports too? What if he just says, I want to be with all of them? What if they're all doing whatever they're doing, right?
That's a very good point, Skip. And let's start with Tom. Giselle has been very understanding.
She has.
At some point. Now, she said that said, okay, I'm going to play this many years and I'm going to, but she's come to the conclusion, or she's come to the resolution, or she's resigned to the fact that, you know what, if I drag Tommy away, he's going to resent it. He's having so much fun. He wants to continue to play. Let me leave well enough alone, and when he's ready to come home, he'll come home. I believe the same thing is at play for Drew Brees. Because when you play football, and when you play quarterback, and you play it like these two gentlemen do, so much of your time is devoted to studying football. Mom has to be mom and dad. They get the kids up, get the kids ready, take them to school, go to practices, go to the games. They do all the things that when Tom is studying and when Tom is at practice and when he's on the road playing games or on his way to play a game, Drew, same thing, they do all the things that dad can't do. So for them to be able to do that for not 1 year, for 5 years, for 10 years, might be 12. That takes a very understanding person.
It does. And is it possible in another
year?
That's
a lot of work.
Would Giselle, she might dig in at some point and just say, I'm sorry, I don't want to do this anymore. Right?
And look, maybe they have help. But even if you got help, Skip, that's a big responsibility. Kids are a lot of responsibility. So
I don't care how much help you have, it's still a lot.
Yeah. And to get the kids up, but you're doing it. You're like, the help, they didn't help make these kids. So you help make them. I need you to help own some of this responsibility. But for these women to say, you know what, do what you love. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to be mom. I'm going to be dad. I'm sure they've had, Skip, this is a conversation that you have every single year. Okay, this is what I want. You sit down when you start, grafting or planning out how you want to do this. You sit down with Giselle. I don't know Drew's wife's name, but he sits down with her and he says, okay, this is what I'm thinking. I would like to do this, this, and this. What are you thinking? Would it be okay? I'm sure these are the conversations that they're having. And, at some point in time, you're right. Somebody's going to say, you know what, baby, I've been doing this thing for 12 years. It's time for you to come home and help. And then,
like ultimatum, come home, or else I might not be here when you get back next time. One of those.
And Skip, the thing is that everybody thinks, and the thing that having a lot of friends that are retired is like, the wife wanted them to come home, or the significant other wanted them to come home, and everybody says, man, I just want to be home with my kid. But that's a big transition, because you go from being home pretty much all day by yourself to being up under Tom, or being up under Drew, or being up under David for 10, 12 hours a day. You're like, hold on, wait a minute. You need to find something to do. Well, I had something to do. I was going to work every single day, and you wanted me to come home. And now that I'm home, you want me to go do something. Oh, no. I'm staying right here. I'm staying right here. So that's also something at play.
What did we see on the field at the end of the New England at Kansas City game? We saw Tom Brady acting like a little kid.
Yes.
We saw him diving into the arms of all of his linemen.
I thought he was a figure skater jumping up in somebody's arms on his skip.
Okay.
Not too graceful, but
spinning around and running.
Just like a crazy little kid. Is that not the essence of why he's playing football right now?
Yes.
Would he tell you that's as much fun as he's ever had in his life? He would probably tell you that, right?
Yes.
So then what happens? They pull him over, and CBS is going to interview him, and he's out of his mind, and he accidentally drops an F-bomb live on CBS. You couldn't really hear it, but he said it. It's unbelievable, right? And then what did he do? Then he gathered himself, and he turned to the camera, and he said, I want to say hi to my wife.
Yes.
I love you, and then his family, but he started with Giselle.
Yeah.
She obviously wasn't in Kansas City, but he wanted to make sure I thank her because she made this all possible. He knows that.
It's behind the scenes. You and I have the easy job. We doing what we love, Skip. We know what we're talking about. You have an idea what you want to say. I have an idea. It's people behind the scenes. Well, Giselle have the legwork. I'm getting up early, getting the kids ready to go, getting them off to school, picking them up, helping them with homework, blah, blah, blah. Tom Brady spending 5-6 hours a day doing, run. Oh, okay. Hey, Josh, did you see what they did on this situation? At this area of the field, I've seen a lot. They've been playing a lot of cover 5. And if we motion Edelman, they're not passing it off, so he's going to be able to get inside. You saw Coach Belichick diagram the same play one time to put him in motion. All he did was flip the formation, and what they should have did the second time, they effed it up the first time. And then when they effed it up the first time, they didn't follow through the second time, but they got the same. It's a huge undertaking to do all of this on your own.
And remember, Drew Brees has not had great ends to his last 2 seasons. He's had extremely painful ends. The Minnesota Miracle.
That one I'm fine with.
And that one you're fine with, but in New Orleans, they're not fine with what happened.
I promise you, Skip, Drew Brees has a championship, has a Super Bowl and an MVP on his resume. I guarantee you the feeling that he felt when he won that does not coincide with the pain that he's feeling after what happened Sunday and what happened in Minnesota.
No, I agree.
The winning never feels as good as the losing.
So is it possible he's going to sleep on it for a couple of weeks and say, I just can't take this anymore? I don't know.
No, because you don't want to end on that note. You don't want your final game to end like that.
Yeah.
Because his final game, if it ends, Skip, you know he threw a pick.
He did.
His last play, the last time Drew Brees ever threw a pass in the NFL was a pick.
And he's already said, I'm coming back next year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, when you go to the Super Bowl 4 times in the last 5 years, Tom Brady's case, that's why we keep talking about the guy and his age. So we're going to move from the best in the NFL to maybe the new best in the NBA. Wow. Is James Harden now the best player on the planet? After another huge night, you say maybe? We'll discuss next.
Well, the other guy's gone.
No, he'll be back.
No mercy.
Hey guys, Jenny Taft here. We all put off doing things we know we need to do. I mean, we know we need to organize the garage and squeeze in a workout, but something always gets in the way, at least it does for me. Funny how home security can be like that. You know it's a good idea, but there's always something holding you back. Well, now is the time to act and protect your home with Simply Safe Home Security. Simply Safe believes nothing should come between you and protecting your home. So they've gotten rid of the reasons not to get home security. There's no contract, ever, no price markups from any middleman, and no installation windows. Who has time for that? Most importantly, their system is engineered to do one thing brilliantly: protect. So if a storm takes out your power, Simply Safe is ready. If an intruder cuts your phone line, Simply Safe is ready. If they destroy your keypad or siren, Simply Safe will still get you the help you need. So get a jump on protecting your home at simplysafe.com/undisputed. No time like the present, right? That's simplysafe.com/undisputed to protect your home and family today with Simply Safe. simplysafe.com/undisputed. Now, back to the show.
No mercy.
James James Harden said before last night's game that he hadn't had a Madison Square Garden moment in his career. Well, that isn't the case anymore. Harden continued his scoring tear with a career-high 61 points against the Knicks last night. Harden has now scored at least 50 points 5 times this season, and he's dropped at least 30 in 21 straight games. Let's take a listen to what Harden had to say after his historic night.
Yeah, I got to keep going. This is it's my legacy at stake, man. So, while I'm here, while I have the opportunity to play basketball, something that I love doing, something that I put the time and effort into, there's no limit what I can't do.
Shannon, how impressive is Harden?
It was very impressive. It was absolutely unbelievable. Anytime one person can outscore a starting 5 for the opposing team, you did something very impressive. Skip, and it wasn't easy. He got 61 points, all unassisted. Let that sink in. He got 61 points, Skip, not one assisted basket. He's never going to be efficient because he's going to shoot. Now, you keep saying like Steph got a green light and Clay got a green light. Ain't nobody got no light like this. This light, it stays on all the time. It's always green. Skip, man, was 5 of 20 from 3. 5 of 20. Skip, this is unbelievable. He's the second player in history. Wilt, like I said, normally we just exclude Wilt from everything.
Well, you have to. 'Cause it's off the charts. It's like from another age and time, right?
Yes, because he has 20. He's the second player to average 30 points over 21 games. He's still got a ways to go to catch Wilt 65 consecutive 30-point
21
games.
to 65. Oh, okay. That's only 45. Right?
Oh, but Wilt still has a 25 and a 31 streak of 30-point games. But that's Skip. When you look at it, and like he said, he had never had before the game, he had never had a signature moment. And when you talk about opposing players having signature moments, everybody remembers Kobe, 61-point performance. LeBron almost had a 50-point triple-double. They rescinded that, if I'm not mistaken, one of the assists in the game. It was later at 50, 12, and 9. Everyone remembers Michael Jordan in his return, his double nickel.
Yeah.
In 1984, the Christmas Day, when Bird Dog, Bernard King, goes for 60.
He did.
Skip, this was unbelievable. But I'm surprised that James Harden's talking about this is his legacy. In a meaningless regular season game, you say this is his legacy we're talking about. James, newsflash, bro, let me break it down to you. That's not your legacy. Your legacy is scoring 10 points in a game 6 when the opposing team's best player and you get beat by 100 in a playoff game at home. Your legacy right now currently is the most turnovers in a playoff game in NBA history against the Golden State Warriors, and you had a chance to win, and you dribbled the ball off your foot. That's your legacy, bro. Not 61 in the Garden. Why are you thinking about your legacy right now? Skip, his performance was unbelievable. He shot another 25 free throws again. He made 22.
Yeah.
But, and now I'm upset because he's talking about his legacy in a game like this. He was very impressive. I mean, to get 61, how did 5? This is his 5th 50-point game this year, Skip. He can score with ease. I mean, he has no offensively. He has no weakness in his game because he can shoot the 3. He can drive. He can shoot the mid-range game. He goes to the bucket. You foul him. You put him on the line. He's an 85+% free throw shooter. So he's going to cash those in. So offensively, he's fundamentally sound. He has no weakness. But the only thing that ticked me off about when he said this is his legacy. Why are we talking about legacy in a game against the Knicks? Come on now, this is the Knicks. Understand where you play the game, Madison Square Garden heightens it because it is the Mecca. Wilt scored 73, but we ain't gonna talk about Wilt. But Skip, it was impressive. You have to be impressed by this. Yeah, he was 17 of 38. Efficiency and James Harden doesn't go together. But if you want oh my, did you see what he just did? You need to watch James Harden.
Yet, he has now set his bar so high, I can't be that impressed by what he did against the lowly New York Knicks last night, shooting 5 for 20 from 3. Because if you make 5 more of those, times 3 is 15, that's 76 points. Now you're getting in Kobe 81 territory, and now I'm getting really impressed. I don't even care if that's against the Knicks.
Oh, that's coming.
Right?
Because he had 36 at the half. He's coming.
Okay, but I got to make a quick point about legacy. Do you realize that Knicks fans, as much respect as I have for them because they got a lot of A-list celebrities in that crowd every night, Do you know that they are complicit in the demise of this franchise over these many years since that one championship they won way back in the 70s?
Yeah, 73. I think.
Yeah, 73. Do you realize they're part and parcel of the problem here because they tend to start cheering the opposing star when he gets hot because they want records set in their Mecca.
Yes.
This is their building, and so they don't have much to cheer for the home team. And last night in the fourth quarter, they began to cheer for James Harden.
Yeah, they want to.
That's out of bounds,
They
man.
want to see history, Skip.
That's just out of bounds, but that's all they've had. But they're complicit in the demise.
Yes.
Because they want to see Kobe score 61, and they want LeBron to score whatever he scored, and double nickels, right?
Yep.
They love this, and they will cheer you if you do that in their building because that's legacy. That's what he was talking about. Steph's done it,
You remember Steph hit like 11 threes, he had 54, and they're going bonkers.
So all the stars come to this building thinking, oh, tonight I really got to raise my level, right?
Yep.
I got to shoot more. I got to get a little more selfish because these people come to see me. They don't come to see the Knicks.
Right.
They want me to put on a show for them.
Correct.
And by golly, I'm going to do it. And James went in there last night to put on a show.
Yep.
Now, he shot it 38 times. The other 4 Houston starters shot it a grand total of 38 times. So he took 38 and the other 4 took 30, the same number of shots.
Yep.
So it's a whole lot of shots to your green light point, and it's 23-point shots, and it's kind of ugly to make 5 of 20, so the game was a little bit hard to watch. But what I still love the most about James Harden is it's hard to make that many free throws.
Yes.
It's just hard, right?
Yes, to keep your concentration.
I mean,
time after time after time after
to
time.
go 22 of 25, and he's now at 86% for the year, and he's shooting by far the most attempts. And you got to give him that because that's hard to do.
And he got 15 rebounds.
Yeah.
He's not a big. You remember when Shaq had his 60 points, he had a bunch of rebounds. But Shaq's a big.
Yeah.
This guy he's 6'5",
Yeah.
and he's pulling down 15 rebounds.
Right. Like last night, I watched my alma mater, Vanderbilt, against the number 1 ranked team in the nation, Tennessee, at Vanderbilt, and it went to overtime. But that kid for Tennessee is the reigning SEC Player of the Year, Grant Williams.
He made 23.
He's a load, but he made 20. He's a big, strong kid. Yeah. He made 23 of 23 free throws. That's phenomenal.
That's unbelievable.
And he made 2 clutch ones at the end.
Yeah.
So you'd think he'd just wear out mentally, just like James. You think at some point you just lose a little concentration at some point. And speaking of lost concentration, this would not have been much of a game except for P.J. Tucker's glitch out. I don't know, his brain freeze. Did you check this out? If we could see this, there's a made free throw by Trier and inbounds by Eric Gordon. And I don't know what P.J.'s doing. He just loses it. He just goes blank. PJ, it's your ball. It's your ball inbounds. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Oh, well, you want Vonleh to pick it up and lay it in? And all of a sudden, now it's down to a 1-point game.
Yeah.
Wow. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know what
he's doing.
He must have been on that JR.
Well, I don't know.
He must have been on that JR. He got on that JR.
He somehow got disoriented, mixed up about what was going on. I don't know, because it's kind of like a handoff inbounds pass. He just basically drops it at your feet.
Yes.
Just pick it up. And poor Eric Gordon gets charged with a turnover for like the simplest pass he's ever made in his life.
Exactly.
Here, right? I don't know what he's doing. But without this, it's not much of a game.
James Harden said, you should have passed him anyway.
Now, look at Eric Gordon. He's like,
I was going to say,
what are you doing? What are you doing? And all of a sudden, they're in a little bit of trouble off that play. But then, who hit the biggest shot of the game? Guess who? Not James Harden, Eric Gordon. He just bombed a 3. And
he bombed just like the Lakers.
He did. He bombed one, man. He is their, I'm not going to say he's their closer, but he's their clutch shot closer, right? He's going to take the last big shot. And that brings me back to James Harden. This is driving me crazy. This drove me crazy last night with the Knicks. At what point is some rival coach going to say, you know what, just tonight I'm going to try this. I'm going to blitz him every time he has the ball. I'm sending 2. As soon as he dribbles to half court, he's going to face 2 of my defenders.
Yeah.
And if somebody scores 61 on us. If Eric Gordon scores 61, good. I'll take it because one time James didn't beat me tonight, right?
Yeah, but P.J. Tucker, I ain't gonna Gordon. I'm coming off P.J. Tucker. If P.J. Tucker can get 40,
right, that's fine.
I can live with that.
Well, you can do the old what they call triangle and two.
Yeah.
So you run two. I promise you, James Harden can't score 61 points if you run two defenders at him. You can't do it because there's nowhere to go. You can't dribble. You can't go anywhere. He would have to give up the basketball. In fact, if he's dribbling the ball up and you have two on him at half court, I'm pretty sure he's going to have to pick up his dribble, right? Because you're just going to wall him off and box him in, and he's going to get stuck. He's going to have to pass the basketball.
Yes.
Well, they didn't do it one time last night. So to your green light point, he's just solo on somebody. Well, he's unguardable.
Yes.
We know that.
And plus, Skip, how many times did he get fouled shooting threes?
Okay, well, you just the other thing I would do, this would be my defense, I would just dare it. I would just say, I'm going to stand back here 5 feet, and you can do all your step backs that you want to. Yeah. Just shoot it.
Yes.
You got the three.
Right.
If you make 10 out of 20, congratulations, you win. If you make 5 out of 20, I got a shot here, right?
Because, I mean, they're fouling him, and he's hitting the three.
Yeah.
So now he's getting 4 points.
Don't foul him. And don't let him drive it at all. Don't let him get to the free throw line because not only did he make his free throws, he shot 25 free throws last night.
Almost doubled his own teammates.
Okay.
Skip, listen, I don't care what anybody says. One guy should not shoot as many free throws as the opposing team. and that
I'll bet
occurs
that's
on
happened a lot.
Yeah, that occurs on a nightly basis.
Okay.
They shot 30 as an entire team. James Harden shot 25.
Okay. So over the 20-game streak in which he's gone 30 plus, he's averaging 43 points a game over his last 20.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
That's unheard of in this day and age, right?
Yeah.
43 a game? Well, that's to my point, why would you keep allowing this? And by the way, they've been really good. And he's been down CP3, and now he's down Capella, and he hadn't had Eric Gordon all the way.
Yeah.
Well, they're 15-6 over their last 21 games, so they're doing okay.
And remember they lost the game by 2 in which he scored 58.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Lakers had them down on Saturday night.
Yeah, Lakers should have beat them.
Should have beat him. Kyle Kuzma disappeared, but that's okay. He's a kid.
But I'm watching him, and I find myself like, I've seen Kobe get hot like this, even though all Jordan games went on TV, but you watched him and when he averaged 37.1 for an entire season, and you're like, wow. But in since Kobe, 05, 06, nobody's seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Nobody's seen anything like this.
I don't know why, but I watched Kobe's game, I watched Michael's game, and I watched LeBron's game at the Garden, and they seemed more heightened to me.
Yeah.
It just seemed more impressive somehow. Maybe because it was new.
Right.
Maybe because he's now maybe he's so good that he's making me numb to his performances, right?
But he's going to get 70. Oh, he'll score 70 points before the season's out.
How about 81?
He might.
Yeah.
And could he get 100?
No.
As many free throws. Skip, watch. He's going to shoot 40 free throws. Before the season, he's going to have a game in which he shoot 40 free throw attempts. You watch it.
I don't know the breakdown on Wilt's 100-point night in Hershey, Pennsylvania against the Knicks.
But he shot like 50-something free throws, Skip, and he was really good.
Was it 50?
No, he shot like 32. I think he was 28 or 32.
How many lay-ins did he have? Just lay-ins, right?
But they tried to stall the ball. They tried to stall him out, Skip. They tried to hold the ball because they didn't want him to get it. But you said over the last 21 games, he's averaging how many?
43.
Wilt averaged 44 for a season and 50 for a season.
It's crazy to even think about it.
For
It is
a
a league of
season.
its own, right? It's a whole different level.
He was a 7-1 high jumper. Like, he's already 7-1, and he can just
And he ran the open
And he
floor,
ran.
and he ran the sprint.
This is
So
like another.
when we talk about offensive skill, we got to exclude him and go back to Kobe, go back to Jordan, or Elgin Bayless, some of these other great scorers, because you got to remove him in order to have a fair conversation.
No mercy.
Back to Jerry Jones. He became the latest person to speak out against expanding instant replay. He focused on this key play in the AFC Championship game where Julian Edelman muffed a punt, but the refs reviewed the play and said Edelman never touched the ball, so the Patriots kept possession. Yesterday, Jerry said the call never should have been overturned. Take a listen.
You can never get the call on the punt, whether you touched it. You can never get it right, okay? Because it was called on the field as a touch, and then later you couldn't see an angle that he definitely touched it. Well, the rule is that you're supposed to go with the call on the field if you can't see an angle that he didn't touch it. I don't know if you can get them everything right.
Well, Shannon, does Jerry have a point?
On the first part, Jerry has a very valid point. I agree with you 1,000%, Jerry. Get on that. Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah, 1,000% I agree. You can't get them all right, Skip. They blew it. Okay, for the 17,000th time, the official in the Saints-Rams game, he blew the call. It was PI, and if you didn't call PI, you should have called helmet to helmet. You get one of them, and you're off the hook, okay? That happened. But in this situation, Skip, even if you can't find an angle, look at Julian Edelman. When that ball skips, he doesn't move. A guy that touches the football, he gonna scramble to get it. When a guy fumbles the ball, he's doing everything he can to get up off the ground and try to get it. He's clawing.
I agry.
Julian Edelman didn't take a step.
No, and he's also shrugging like, what are you doing?
What y'all doing fighting for the ball?
Yeah.
I mean, watch what he does. He steps to the side. Like, I'm not about to take a shot because normally, Skip, guys are coming diving in. They're going to try to get the ball. Edelman steps back like, nah, y'all ain't finna get no cheap shot on me. He never moves. But this was, you see what Jerry doing, Skip? He trying to shade old Mr. Kraft. You know he trying to shade him. Talk about the call on the field. If you go with the call that's been called on the field, if there's not an angle. Well, I saw some angles. The ball didn't look like it touched his thumb. It didn't. It just didn't.
No.
Look, for whatever, I get it. Skip, but I've seen so many people, man, it's like, I'm just tired of the Patriots going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, I know, but.
Everybody calls you Unc now?
They call me, that's what he called me in the street. People actually call me that, Skip. Whole Foods, that's what they call me. They call me Unc.
What can you do?
But Skip,
Well, which one are you, Unc or Shannon? I don't know.
I'm Shannon today.
Okay.
I'm Shannon today. Very buttoned up.
Very buttoned up. Thanks for clarifying.
But Skip, you know what this is about. The two most powerful owners in football, there's no question. You know who they are. Mr. Robert Kraft and one Jerry Jones. Now, you and I both know, I don't care at what level, there's always competition. Now, Mr. Kraft, it's great. He does things. They're like, hey, I just sit back. I know what I know, and what I don't know, I hire the best people I possibly can, and I let them do what they do. Since the Dallas Cowboys has gone to an NFC Championship game, one, Mr. Bob Kraft and the New England Patriots have gone to 10 Super Bowls. 10 of them things, Skip Bayless. Now, Mr. Kraft has an opportunity to do something a week from Sunday, is to get number 6, moving to a tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
How many does the Dallas Cowboys have, Skip? So right now, Jerry said pretty, but Mr. Kraft said, hold on, Jerry. They had 2 of them things before you even thought about even purchasing the Dallas Cowboys. So right now, it's still 5-3, but I'm going to give you, your organization has 5, my organization has 5. But I'm about to break this tie. Oh, Jerry tried to throw some shade, Skip. You don't think I noticed it? You noticed that. He going to talk about, they made the call on the field, and I don't know if there was enough evidence. Yeah, there was enough evidence, Jerry. You know that man didn't touch that ball. You also know if he had the call gone into the Chiefs' favor, there's a good chance they win that ball game.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
It was 8 minutes and 47 seconds left. I'm still not betting against number 12 on the Patriots. But still, to your point, Patriots were ahead 17-14 at that moment. And all of a sudden, Kansas City would have had the ball at the Patriot 28 because you can't advance them up.
Right.
So it's not a touchdown.
Right.
It's just your ball at the 28.
Right.
And instead, it was the Patriots' ball going the other way, up 17-14. But still, Mahomes and company, they still took the lead twice after that, right?
Skip, I believe there's only 3 or 4 owners that want non-calls reviewable, and one of those is Miss Benson because the emotion is raw. Right now, her team got jobbed. For lack of a better word, that's what happened, Skip. They got had, missed a call, and it would have been so great. The owner, Mr. Thomas Benson, he passes away, and basically 6 months, I think 8 months after he passes, the team goes to the Super Bowl. That would have been a great story. But once and I believe, Skip, once a month, 2 months pass, she'll realize, like, you know what? Out of frustrations, I said some things. I questioned the integrity, and there's no integrity at stake here. The guy missed a call. You know what, guys? Hey, let's leave it as is.
Okay. Let me go back to Jerry's points of contention. First of all, you could see an angle that clearly showed to me, I don't know, there were about 8 angles on the play, which is why I love our technology today, because you can get pretty good
Get it pretty close.
3D view of what's going on. I know it's in two-dimensional, but if you see enough angles, you can look at it and say, wait a second, the thumbs did not touch. Now, do I fault Julian Edelman for even getting in harm's way? I do, because that ball was hot, bouncing on the ground. That's the one you better get away from, because as you well know, that ball is oblong and it hits funny on different angles.
And look how shiny it is, Skip. That's a kicking ball. That's not one of the balls that the Patriots, they like to have all roughed up and scuffed up. Look how shiny that ball is and how cold it is. So it's hard and slick.
Okay. And he put his hands in harm's way, but the thumbs did not touch the football. There's one definitive angle where you can clearly see thumbs did not touch. So to preserve the integrity of the game, they had the guts to overturn that.
Right.
That's hard because, again, if you're not completely clear on it, you got to stay, to Jerry's point, you stay with the call on the field. Now, point number two. You did make a good point that I had not thought of against Mr. Kraft, Jones versus Kraft. There could be something operating there. But there's one constant theme from Jerry Jones, and it dates back to the days that I spent around Jerry doing my 3 Cowboy books. He was dug in on this from the start. Poor officiating, bad calls are part of the game of football. I think you believe that to a certain degree. That it's always been part of the fabric of this great game of football. It's what Jerry has always referred to as human frailty. Referees are human. They're going to blow calls.
Correct.
And in Jerry's realm, they even out over time. You're going to get burned, and then you're going to get breaks, right? So he's gotten his share of breaks. I'm sure he thought he got burned near the end of halftime against the Rams in the playoff game when La'el Collins wrapped up Dak Prescott, and somehow the ref got confused and thought, that's a sack? No, it's not a sack. It's your own guy throwing you out of the pocket. And he whistled Dak down at that point, right? He blew the play dead.
That would be a challenge. That would be reviewable.
Okay.
You'd be able to challenge that.
All right. Okay. But again, I was just talking about the last 2 minutes. This is just at the end of the first half.
Right.
So they were in field goal range, -8. They're out of field goal range.
Last 2 minutes, Skip. The last 2 minutes of the half.
Yeah, but I was just talking.
So you just want to end the game.
I just at the end of the game, just so we can preserve some semblance of
football, regulation football.
Yes, I'm good up until the last 2 minutes. And then when the plays are virtually game deciding, then I want the ability to look at them. But in this case, he's talking about human frailty. And this is what drives me the craziest about my man, Jerry Jones. In the end, he prefers marketing over winning. In the end, if you put him on a lie detector, you would find out in Jerry Jones' world, he was a natural-born salesman. His father was a great salesman, and Jerry is his father. And he is proudest of his salesmanship ability.
He's great.
He is the best, man.
P.T. Barnum.
He is P.T. Barnum. And he wants to put marquee up. That's why he loved Tony Romo, because Tony Romo would throw 5 touchdown passes, 506 yards against Denver, and at the last second, he's going to throw it to Denver, and you're going to lose on a walk-off last-second chip shot field goal.
You're going to be talking about it.
You're going to be talking about it, and I'm still talking about it because it still drives me crazy. Tony Romo was made for Jerry Jones because he was box office.
Yes.
He might come up small when you most needed him to be big, but it didn't matter because he kept you on the edge of your seat.
Correct.
Because Tony Romo could wheel and deal. He could wheel out of the pocket and create plays, extend plays.
And throw it and dance and jump and catch it.
It was sensational. Way more sensational than Dak plays.
Yes.
Okay.
So in this case, he's marketing his game. He's saying, why did we overturn that? Because what would have been better is if everybody's buzzing about, did they get it right or not? Because he would prefer the controversy swirling. That's why I'm sure he loves what happened at the end of the New Orleans game, because he believes that's good for football. I think it's terrible for the game of football. I think it's a black mark. I think it's disgraceful what happened at the end of the game. We disagree on it, but I just think the wrong team went to the Super Bowl, and that's just wrong. You got to fix that. But he says don't fix it because Skip and Shannon are still talking about it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
And the thing is, Skip, and I agree with you, that he values marketing and dollars over winning, because over the last 20 years, he got that yacht because of marketing.
He did.
Not because of winning.
No.
Because they haven't even been to an NFC title game. They haven't gone to a Super Bowl. But still, they're the most profitable franchise. Now look as I said before, Mr. Kraft purchased this team, the Patriots, in 1994. The Cowboys won the Super Bowl, so therefore they had to go to an NFC title game in 95. In 10 Super Bowl appearances for the Patriots since the Cowboys has last won the Super Bowl. Let that sink in.
It has.
How are the Cowboys more valuable and the America's team than the Patriots? I thought that everybody cared. America loves a winner. We love a winner.
You know why? Controversy. It's always something with the Cowboys. It's never anything with Brady and Belichick until the ESPN story of a year ago, right?
Well, we had Spygate, we had Deflategate.
Okay, but those are negative.
Right.
Yeah, but with Jerry, we wait every week during the regular season for his, is it Tuesday or Monday? I can't remember. Tuesday, his radio show.
Yes.
Because you know and I know Jerry's going to say something that you say, what? And at the end of Tony Romo, what was the big remark that he made? My biggest regret as owner of the Dallas Cowboys is I couldn't win a Super Bowl with Tony Romo, because that would be cake and eat it too, right? You'd have Tony Romo winning a Super Bowl, finally, right?
Yes.
That was Jerry's ultimate dream, and it's not going to work because Tony Romo wasn't capable.
But he's got to win. He's got to win. Skip. He wants to win so desperately to get out from under that he went along for the ride with Jimmy. He wants to do that. So if he can do it with Dak and with these cast of characters, because everybody's there because of Jerry.
They are.
We can have the argument, well, Jerry had something to do with it, but everybody knows that's Jimmy. Because Jimmy came from the college, so he knew about Emmitt Smith. He knew about Darren Woodson. He knew about all these players. Because guess what? Not only did he coach against them, he recruited half of them. So he knows who is going to be good and who's going to fit with Jimmy Johnson.
Okay, Jerry did go get Charles Haley, and he did sign Dion, which tilted the field back in Dallas's favor, right?
Yes.
So I give him some credit, but obviously Jimmy deserved
the lion's share.
Yes.
So he wants to do it with this. But old Mr. Kraft, they'll keep telling. Mr. Kraft sit back there, Sunday, you see him banging on the window like a kid at the zoo. I mean, he just banging to get the track. Oh, he's just so happy. What you do, Skip, is that in any business, you know what you know. But what you don't know, you hire people. Mr. Kraft ain't trying to dip. He ain't trying to say, Bill, what you think about this defense against that guy?
Not doing that.
Josh McDaniel, Mr. Kraft. All he do is collect the ring. They call him the ring collector.
That's correct. And how much credit does Mr. Kraft want? None. And he had to sit down in the offseason with Brady and Belichick and say, okay, just calm down. Kiss the wake up. And he says, you get 50% of the credit, you get 50%, and we're going to go win another one now.
He ain't say nothing about him. No. He's like, I don't want no credit. He's like, guys, let's keep this because pretty soon it's going to be over.
Yep.
He's doing something that's working.
Yeah. You see Mr. Kraft, Mr. Kraft, I like Mr. Kraft. Mr. Kraft need another pair of shoes.
Okay, let's hope he's watching.
What, Skip? I mean, I like shoes. You like shoes, I like shoes.
No shame from this side of the table.
My opinions are not for sale.
Not enough for sale.
Speaking of controversial calls, do the Saints need to move on from Sunday's loss? We'll discuss all that next.
No mercy.
The Saints missed out on a trip to the Super Bowl, and the missed pass interference call late in the game was a big reason why. The Saints are apparently still salty about the call because yesterday, Michael Thomas posted this image with the Super Bowl 53 logo changed to spell out the word lie. Shannon, do you like it, love it, hate it?
Hate it. Let it go. All you're doing is prolonging the healing process, Skip Bayless. What he should have done is posted the same picture, H-O-M-E, home, because that's exactly where you are, and that's where you're going to be. They're not going to replay this game. I don't care how many petitions that the local congressmen or aldermen or whatever you want to call them, Skip, they're not going to replay this game. Not the last 148, not the last 10 minutes. No part of this game will ever be replayed. I get it, Skip, they got legitimate arguments. Because like I said it in real time. I cannot believe it. I said, hey, that was the referee let a non-call go. It was horrible. It was egregious. If you don't get the PI, you get it with helmet to helmet. It didn't happen. The officials are human. How could you miss it? The same way they miss it in the first quarter, they miss it in the third quarter, or they miss it in the second quarter.
Yep.
They're human. Let it go. You know what this reminds me of, Skip? We talked about this last year, but it was a different outcome. The Eagles won. But all they did was talk about what? Oh, the Patriots, they don't have no fun. Whoa, this old Bill Belichick, he disrespected Dougie P. Whoa, this, whoa, that. Let it go, you won. Okay, let it go, you lost. What can change? Oh, it's nice and catchy. Oh, you see it? Man, you see Michael Thomas, he spelled out, got the Super Bowl logo, and he got L-I-I-I-E. Come on.
It's clever. You got to
It
give
was.
him that.
Yeah. Well,
Roman.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm the Rams,
Yes,
I could come up with a hashtag. Yeah, Super Bowl. HOME. Saints logo. Yeah, because that's where they are, home. We getting ready. Why y'all not talking about us? Oh, Todd Gurley, TG for 100. CJ Dickerson. Jared Goff.
Rams could do hashtag counterfeit or hashtag.
Wait,
how about hashtag fraudulent?
No.
You could always find
right?
something.
Or Cowboys could do hashtag never. Yeah.
Harsh,
Well, you can't do never.
Never.
You can't do never when
Never.
you got
Can't
5.
do
Never.
Right.
Never again.
Yeah. You could do hashtag not for a while.
Yeah.
Still working on
For a
it.
long while.
Building, hashtag building.
Not for a minute? Would you give me a not for a minute?
Why is this so
No.
fun?
More minutes.
All right. So all Michael Thomas is doing is pouring salt in your wounds.
Yeah.
Because it's hard for you to keep defending your position when the world is just outraged.
They're
over
already
this.
on your side.
Okay, so he is clearly preaching to a huge choir
Yes.
that is in full throat with outrage to this moment over this call.
Correct.
Nobody has let it go just yet. What are we to Thursday?
Thursday.
And it feels like it's going to go on for the rest of this week before
sure.
it dies down.
Right.
Shannon Sharpe, even you would agree, it was the all-time robbery. As far as that moment goes, it was the worst
No.
blown call in sports history.
72 Olympics in basketball.
Okay.
You know it.
I
Say
saw it. I watched it live.
Say it. That was more egregious, Skip. You know it.
Okay, but now you're doing Russia versus the United States, and you got international
All
politics, Cold War. It's in the Cold War time.
Well, I had to dig, Skip.
okay,
I went through a lot of stuff last
okay.
night to come up with a
Again,
worse call.
and you're not being governed by the National Football League,
You're right.
right?
You're
So
right.
when you bring the integrity, the
enough.
official into question,
Right.
I don't know where his loyalties lie,
Right.
but I would like to think I know where the loyalties lie of the National Football League referees.
Right.
I would think they're just trying to get it right. I would think that they're still paid a lot of money, even though they're not full-time,
Ain't paid no money.
to make calls that are obvious,
Yes.
blatant,
Yes.
egregious, and that was as egregious as it gets.
was.
And it's still hard for me to process how the side judge, back judge, somebody
Field
in the
judge.
vicinity, somebody just doesn't say, well, if you're not going to throw it, I'll throw it, because that's outrage. I'm throwing this flag, right? But they all swallowed their proverbial whistle.
Yeah.
And
Or
they
took
all,
their flag.
yeah. And they all looked at each other like, I'm not going to do this.
Not at this moment, Skip.
And usually that is the flag you do throw because you're swept up in the emotion of the moment of the home team.
Right.
What's arguably, I know the outdoor crowd would be Seattle's on decibels, but are the decibels not the highest in that dome, in that Thunderdome?
Yeah. Yes.
So wouldn't you think the refs would be swept up in that
Right.
moment? But they went the other way, and they all just let their flag sit in their pocket.
Because if he throws it, Skip,
Yeah.
and everybody's going to say, man, I can't believe he threw it in that moment. What is everybody going to say? But was it PI? Was it helmet to helmet? So he has an out. If he throws the flag, Skip, he has an out because everybody's going to say, well, yeah, but it was pass interference. Yes, it was helmet to helmet. He doesn't throw it, and people are like, well, bruh, how could you not see that?
Okay, so just on my small level, I'm going to show you the magnitude of this, the reaction to this play. Soon after it, I tweeted, all caps, all-time robbery.
Right.
And I look, I don't read my responses, my ats, but I look at my analytics just to see what people reacted to, because it helps us think, what do we want to do on the show?
Right.
What are people hottest for us to talk about?
Right.
Yes.
So I look back in awe at this one. It shattered anything I've ever gotten off a Cowboy game or a Brady game or a LeBron James game.
Right.
It's 3.3 million impressions, and I'm not even sure what all the impressions, how you
Right.
define impressions.
Right.
Wow.
But for me, if I do in the 1 millions, that's a whole lot. I'm
Right.
sure my record might be 2-ish, somewhere around 2. This went to 3.3 because everybody concurred.
Yes.
There was no gray area
No,
for
it was
once.
not-
For
no.
once, the whole
Yes,
world
yes,
was
it's absolute.
into all-time robbery. So you can't condemn Michael Thomas for he's just driving the bandwagon, man. And that was a clever way to drive it. And I'm with you. At some point, you have to, you don't need to let it go. You just need to reverse it to let's be fueled by this.
Right.
Let's, because nobody's going to say you're reaching. Nobody's going to be saying you're making a lousy excuse or, everybody's with you that you deserve to do LIE.
I heard they got what did you say, Healy? They said that official got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Really?
That's what I heard. I just made that up. Let me stop.
Yeah, you put that on our producer.
You know, people actually believe that.
Well, Todd Gurley posted a Photoshop of him exchanging jerseys with
Yeah, he
the
ain't
referee.
posted that. Somebody posted that on Todd Gurley.
Was it?
Yeah, he was hacked.
Oh, he was hacked?
Hacked.
I thought Todd did.
I think you should retweet. I think you should tweet it again today.
Okay.
Exact same way.
All right.
See if it beats that number.
Oh,
I bet
you
it
think
might
it
even
would?
be more
I don't
outrage.
think so.
No.
It's built.
But it was in the moment of the moment, like it was right.
But it was.
mad
But
about
Skip, it was. It was an egregious act. But at the end of the day, was that guy not human?
Yeah, human frailty, as Jerry Jones
Yeah.
says. No, he was. How about are there 7 on the crew? I think all 7 of them were painfully human.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the only guy that really couldn't make that call was the referee, because he can't make a call way down the field.
Well, I think he could if he wanted to.
No, he can't.
Well, I mean, is it within the confines of the rules?
Because then everybody's gonna say, wait a minute. How's a referee throwing a pass interference flag from 30 yards away?
This is the one I wanted them to huddle on.
Oh no, because then you're gonna see, that was the NFL. Yeah. The NFL told them to get together and they threw the flag.
Okay, well I'm
just like when the Cowboys picked the flag up. You remember that, Skip Bayless,
right.
against your Detroit Lions?
Anthony Hitchens.
Yeah.
Now,
What'd he do,
Kansas
Skip?
City Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Flag.
Yeah.
Then they pick it up to there was no pass interference.
It was pass interference. I give you that. And by the way, that was the one day Tony Romo was clutch. Yeah. He threw it to Jason Witten to win the game. Way to go, Tony.
Yeah. And next week, no catch by Dez.
No catch. That was a clutch throw by Tony Romo.
Yeah, it was.
But it's just sort of Romo's, that's his fate is that it always seems to go the wrong way.
But at some point, they got to let it go.
Yeah.
I know pain.
Yeah.
96.
You don't know any pain.
I know pain.
You played in 3 Super Bowls and won all 3 of them.
We did, but I'm saying we had to go through pain to get there.
Mark Brunell?
Division, yes.
Yeah.
Losing to Buffalo 10-7.
I love Mark Brunell. He's a good guy.
No, he ain't no good guy. You just like that because they beat us.
He did.
Yeah, ain't like no
He
Mark
beat
Brunell.
you at Denver.
He did.
That's pain.
That's pain.
Yeah.
We lost. But we didn't keep talking about it. It's still painful. I ain't watching the game anyway.
Was it like the first round game or
It was divisional.
Divisional game at Denver?
We had to mop the floor with everybody. Beat the brakes off of New England, who ended up going to the Super Bowl. They didn't want no parts of us.
No.
Speaking of New England.
Once we got out the way, they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was gonna say they've done that a couple times lately. How exactly did Bill Belichick and the Patriots shock the Chiefs on Sunday? Good thing we've got Eric Mangini
This guy
here.
knows.
He knows this team better than anyone. He's gonna break it down for us next.
No mercy.
Well, we are just over a week away from the Super Bowl, and the Patriots are currently favored over the Rams. That's a contrast from last week when New England was an underdog on the road against the Chiefs. But the Patriots dominated time of possession, Pat Mahomes scoreless in the first half, and Tom Brady was, good old Tom Brady. We're joined by FS1 NFL analyst Eric Mangini. It is good to have you back.
It is.
Good to be back.
Especially when we're talking about the Patriots,
Yeah, you
because
know
we want to get your
something
take
about
on
them.
this.
Yeah.
Where's the sidekick, Skip? The Robin Eric show.
I think we're going to talk serious football. So he's not just going to come out and say how much he hates Tom Brady. And the Patriots.
So we'll break it down. How exactly did the Patriots pull it off against the Chiefs?
Well, the good news is they got rid of Bob Sutton, right? He was the big problem there. And to me, that's ridiculous. You've got this high-powered offense that gets shut out at home, and it's Bob Sutton's fault. It's Bob Sutton's fault that Dee Ford lines up off sides for the 3rd interception of the game. I mean, if you flip it, are you going to fire Brian Flores because the Patriots gave up 31 points in 12 minutes in the second half, or a field goal with 32 seconds left in regulation? To me, the fact that Patrick Mahomes and offensively, they couldn't recognize some of the things that New England was doing early is the difference in the game. And the biggest thing was J.C. Jackson, who's a rookie free agent from Maryland, who's 5'10", who in college had 9 pass interference penalties, and 2 holding calls in his final 2 years. He's isolated man-to-man on Travis Kelce, and Kelce barely gets the ball. Now, they finally figured that out in the second half, and when you look through it, J.C. Jackson shows up time and time again because they were able to exploit that matchup. The other thing is the pass.
By the way, he had 3 penalties in the second half.
3 penalties in the
one
second
drive.
Yeah. But that all was missed in the first half, and part of that is inexperience, but part of that is as a staff being able to say, okay, they're taking away Tyreek Hill, they're doubling him, high-low double.
Yep.
And
wait a second. Did anybody not expect that? Is that a shocking maneuver?
No. That's not a shocking maneuver. Yeah. And you can do things for a double team. You can motion a guy and run over routes.
Right.
Over routes are hard. On the one ball he caught, he drove inside. He forced the safety inside and broke to the corner, and they hit a big play. So you can take advantage of those things too. And then you've got Patrick Mahomes, who, what's one of the best things he does? The plays that are unscripted, getting out of the pocket. What was New England going to do? They were going to keep him in the pocket. They were going to keep him in the pocket.
Yes.
So move the pocket, bootlegs, dashes, things like that, and then figure out the rush scheme. The tackle set so deep for Kansas City. The ends come up the field, break underneath. The tackles wrap around, so you got pressure. You keep in the pocket. So I know everybody wants to have a reason they lost. So Bob Sutton, he's the sacrificial lamb. He's the one we're going to roll out and say, okay, if we get the defense fixed, everything will be fine. But to me, it's so much more than that.
So the scheme is to keep Mahomes in the pocket, and many times straight up the gut was wide open because they would loop everybody. The ends and even the tackles might stunt loop, but they would dare him just to take off up the middle, which he's not prone to do. He doesn't seem to like that. Patrick
No,
Mahomes.
he wants to work with right.
He wants to go sideways. So they had figured that part out. And once late, he got outside one time, and I don't think it was called, where he threw it to the backup running back.
It was the first play of the overtime where he gets outside of the pocket. It's 21 yards. It gets the drive going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the overtime.
Not the overtime. The final drive of the final drive of the.
And he threw it to Spencer Ware, right? The backup running back.
Yeah.
Right.
Hit him on a good sprint.
Yeah. Okay. So go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So are you faulting Andy Reid then on play calling? Do you think that the Patriots stayed one step ahead of Andy, that he wasn't flexible enough to help his young quarterback figure it out on the fly faster?
Well, here's what I'm saying is, it's a group effort. And I have a real problem with when one person gets sacrificed for a group effort. When you have the supposed MVP of the league, this unstoppable offense who gets shut out at home, when you've got Travis Kelce one-on-one against a rookie free agent undersized corner with a history of pass interference calls.
I mean,
and
there was a reason he wasn't drafted. And he was a hot recruit for Florida early on. Then he had an incident at Florida, wound up going to Riverside
Community College,
and then to Maryland. But he started for 2 years at Maryland, and so you'd think, well, he's back on track, and yet nobody took him until Bill signed him as a free agent.
Yeah, and to be able to see that. And that being said, you've got to give Patrick Mahomes a little bit of leeway because he hasn't seen these things.
Right.
And this is an issue with young quarterbacks, and it's going to be a little bit of an issue with Jared Goff. Guys haven't seen it where Tom Brady, he walks up the line of scrimmage. If you don't disguise, he knows exactly what you're in. He's got.
So you mean to tell me you can't line up in cover 5, which is 22 man, line up in single high safety, and Tom Brady won't recognize that?
I promise you, if you line up
Exactly.
in a stationary defense, you are going to get beat.
Thank you.
And you're going to get beat badly.
Well, let me ask you a question. What if you can't stop the run and you don't reroute the receivers? What will happen?
Yeah, that's an issue too. And look, we always talk about the new NFL. What did New England do? They got in 21 personnel, 2 backs, 1 tight end, and the first play of the game is about as classic a football play as you can get. Ace ice, down block to the backside linebacker, straight ahead, no fair dodging, and it was that old school football with the fullback leading up and
Straight power.
Yeah, straight power, and you got to be able to handle those plays too.
Okay.
For
So
me-
remember, Kansas City had the best pass rush. They tied for the most sacks in pro football, and they got none because of what?
Well, part of that is a combination of the way that they use Cordarrelle Patterson, the way that they ran the ball in that traditional sense early. So they run it. Anytime you do that, that slows down pass rushers. Now they've got to honor the run first. They can't tee off. Then you bring in a guy like Cordarrelle, who's more of a gadget guy, and they mix in screens. They mix in misdirection, things like that. That slows down pass rushers. You've got the mixture of the back quick out, back out of the backfield quickly. So you're constantly putting the pass rushers on their heels as opposed to letting them tee off and rush the passer.
They kept it in 3rd and manageable. It was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. So now you still have the element of the run or the pass. But see, Skip, E-Man, I think this was a culmination. Now, we might say he was fired for this game, but he was fired for the previous 4 games losses also. Because in those 4 losses, they lost 5 times this year, including the playoffs. The offense has scored 36 points a game, but the defense has given up 40.
And don't forget the previous year's playoff game in which they were
had a
21-3 at half, and they blew it.
Okay,
to Tennessee.
Let's put that aside.
Yeah.
What Coach Belichick says, your 2 best players, because Tyreek Hill in the Thursday night game 2 years ago goes 7 for $143 and 1 touchdown. He goes this year on Sunday night, 7 for $148 and 3 touchdowns. Coach Belichick says, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Let me tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to let Tyreek Hill and I'm not going to let Travis Kelce beat me. Now,
although he was daring,
he was ready to let Travis Kelce beat. He wasn't going to let Patrick Mahomes out of the pocket beat him.
Get those broken plays. Yeah. He's going to throw the ball over your head. But my problem is, E-Man, you know this, in 3rd and 10, 3 straight times, I'm going to double Gronk, I'm going to double Edelman. If Tom Brady can scan the field and Philip Dorsett can beat me or Chris Hogan can beat me, I can live with that.
Yep.
But I'm not going to let guys that I know Brady have the greatest rapport with, I'm not going to let those guys beat me.
But in his defense, you saw what they did with Edelman. They motion him down. They create problems with double teams. They create issues with coverage, with leverage, and it's constantly, and that's where you look at a guy like Tyreek Hill who's doubled high-low. Now you've got to create problems with that type of leverage. And say what you want about what happened defensively. How about the Patriots giving up 31 points? Kansas City had the ball 12 minutes in the second half and scored 31 points.
Right.
Yeah.
So
one of those was a turnover.
What's that?
One of those was a turnover.
Yeah, but Kansas City also created 2 turnovers.
Right.
And they would have had a 3rd turnover if a guy lines up
in the backfield
onside. Is that anything to do with scheme or
no
philosophy?
Okay, just remember, the previous 4 times Belichick had met Andy Reid on the football field, Andy Reid had his way all 4 times. 3 times he scored 40-plus points. Obviously, in the regular season Week 6 game, he scored 31 in the second half, did Andy Reid at Foxborough on Belichick's defense. And it is Bill's defense. I know Brian Flores is the coordinator, but Bill's overseeing the defense. And then in the playoff game that they won 27-20 at Foxborough against Alex Smith, if you look at the numbers, Kansas City just dominated the stats but couldn't cash in the red zone. So they were having their way with this defense. And even though it took a while, to your point, they started having their way in the second half. They just didn't have the ball enough. They had the ball 3 minutes of the fourth quarter and scored 24 points. That's outrageously bad defense to me. And to your final point was that they drove it and tied the game and sent it into overtime, so they couldn't stop Patrick Mahomes in the second half. They fooled him and Andy Reid in the first half long enough that they only had the ball 9 minutes of the first half. It's 21-9 in time of possession. But in the end, it was incumbent upon Brady and the offense just to win the game a keep away, or they're going to lose the football game because Kansas City is too explosive for this defense. It's just not that good. And again, they tricked them a little bit. They had a couple of nice, shocking stops early, shut them out in the first half. But then when you hold the ball for 44 minutes to 21 minutes, that's the only way to level the playing field in Kansas City against Patrick Mahomes, because they started to figure it out. J.C. Jackson switched off, and he was covering he's on Sammy Watkins when he got the penalties, right?
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. But there was a whole first half of football.
Yeah.
Yes. And the fact that it takes you a half of football to figure it out, to me, then to shift that to only one side of the ball and say, okay, it's your fault, you're not looking at it in the entire context because the whole game matters. Now, we often discount things that happen early, whether it's penalties in the game. You know, those things are glossed over, but they're significant. And you can look at those plays and say, this had just as much of an impact as a play that happened later in the game.
Bottom line, have you ever seen Tom Brady any better than he was Sunday at Kansas City?
Oh, yeah, when they came back and beat Atlanta in the Super Bowl, I thought he was pretty good there, too.
But he was pretty good
This
on
one's on the list, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 3 straight 3rd and 10s, that's pretty
cover
good.
5, man, you know you're vulnerable in the middle of the field, so you can't let the guy get into the middle of the
You could be
field.
in cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever coverage you want. If Tom knows what you're in, you got no chance.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying.
So the Rams better figure out how to disguise the coverages. Otherwise, he is going to eat them up.
I'm not as vulnerable in cover 1 in the middle of the field as I am 25. I mean, cover 5. Two deep safety, man free, and you let the guy go scot-free to the middle of the field?
Yeah, I mean, they motioned him in. He got.
But what did they try to do in the first one? Fuller messed it up because it looked like when he came in motion, they were gonna like, if he comes in motion, I got him because I'm already inside.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And that's the problem with stacks and bunches and those things, is it creates communication with defensive backs. And, you know,
Kansas City
had every right to run stacks and bunches, too.
Yeah.
All right, Eric, so good to get your take on that one. Thanks for being here. We have some juicy new details about Hugh Jackson's firing in Cleveland. You're going to want to hear this next.
No mercy.
ESPN's Seth Wickersham wrote an article about the dysfunction in the Cleveland Browns organization. Among the juicy details, he writes about the moment when Hugh Jackson was fired in late October. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam and GM John Dorsey walked into Hugh's office, told him he was being let go. Hugh asked why, and Dorsey said the team quit on him. Hugh responded by saying, quote, "Get the F out of my office."
Whoa!
Which was about not to be his office anymore, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, in that moment, he still had the control.
Yeah.
I didn't even say anything. I just said F.
Yeah.
Reacted to it. All right, Shannon, what did you learn from that moment in this article about this organization?
A lot of this, Skip, I think it's been reported, and we kind of knew there was a lot of dysfunctionality going on in Cleveland, but I don't think we knew it to be to this magnitude.
That is true.
It was reported that John Dorsey said one of the reasons that they were firing Hugh, that after 8 games, that the team had quit on him. But in 4 of those 8 games, they're going to overtime. That tells me the team playing their asses off for Hugh Jackson, whether they liked him or not. I just feel that Jimmy Haslam didn't know enough about football, wanted to know about football, and just inserted himself in instances in which he had no knowledge of. But that's what happens, Skip. When I own a team, I can come down and say and do whatever I want, even though it might not be the most sound, prudent way to do things. Skip, it was reported that, and we've heard this before, that Johnny Manziel texted Darryl Loggins, who happened to be the quarterback coach at the time. He shows the text message to Jimmy Haslam. Jimmy Haslam, against everybody in the draft room, says, "I want Johnny." They drafted Johnny Manziel. It's also reported that Jimmy Haslam didn't like Teddy Bridgewater because of the handshake that he gave him at the end of dinner.
That's true.
Wow. It's like he hires all these people and says, okay, we got a plan. Our plan is 2 to 3 years. I know we're terrible. We some trash. We bought the team. I know what we're getting in for. This is your role. Okay. How long you need? Boom. Gotcha. Good. This is your role. How long you need? Boom. Gotcha. After a year, boom, gone. Coach is gone. General manager's gone. Everybody's gone. So he's clearly not willing to see this thing through because I think maybe because, look, he came from the business background. His dad was very prominent in the trucking business in Tennessee. And the trucking business, everybody says, well, it's a business. No. All businesses are not run the same, Skip. You can't. Football is totally different. It's hard for me to believe that a football business, the NFL, operates like a trucking business. And a trucking business operates like Google or Microsoft. They're businesses, but you can't operate everything the same way. And it was a mess. And it's also in here that Hugh Jackson believes that there's some people on the offensive side of the football that told, and I told you this, Skip Bayless, that they told Baker Mayfield something. This has nothing to do with Hugh being fired and going to Cincinnati. And I said it. I didn't need this article to tell me. Somebody told Baker Mayfield something for him to feel some type of way about Hugh Jackson. And this article validated that for me. But they got some issues. The question is, Skip, he has his guy in place. Hopefully, Freddie Kitchens does a great job. But how long? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Skip, next year they start 1-5, or they start 2-7. Then what? Because it seems to be, if they don't get off to if they're not 3-0 or 4-1 or 5-3, it's a problem.
I got to tell you, the deeper I read into this story by Seth Wickersham, the sicker I got for Baker Mayfield. This is a bad place. Every NFL team, the buck stops with the owner.
Absolutely.
The first decision that has to get made is that owner has to choose a GM and a coach. And if he chooses wrong, or if he wants to be the coach or the GM, you're going to lose. And you're not going to be able to get out from under it because there's no public mandate that you can fire an owner. He owns the team. So
Exactly.
he's not in a government job.
Yeah.
You can't vote him out of his job. And it's clear to me after reading this story that Jimmy Haslam is a frustrated football coach.
Yes.
And it details that he wants more and more to be hands-on. He walks the halls every day of their facility chatting with this guy and that guy, and it can be somebody at the low end of the spectrum. And he's open to, he wants to know what's going on. What have you heard? And if you tell him the wrong thing at the wrong time, heads are going to roll because he will fire at a moment's notice. Somebody will be gone because he's fired a whole lot of people. So in the end, I'm not sure you can overcome that over the long haul because it sounds like his football philosophy has changed with the weather in Cleveland.
Right.
He wants to go this way, but then he decides, no, I want to go this way.
Yeah, I like analytics. No, I don't like analytics.
And his analytics people, starting with a guy I knew in Oakland when he was a baseball analytics guy, Paul DePodesta, warned Jimmy that Hugh is everything he didn't like in a football coach.
It was 4-1 against Hugh to be hired.
Against Hugh. But then he hires Hugh, and then he fires Hugh because he thought the team quit. The team didn't quit on Hugh Jackson.
You quit believing in Hugh.
For whatever reason, or maybe your quarterback quit believing, and you decided you had to take that to heart.
I'm reading in here about where Sashi Brown, who's a Harvard-educated, one of his analytics
No
guys,
longer there.
No longer there. That he nicknamed him Obama. And he's like, he didn't. There are people in the thing that didn't like it, say it was offensive, and he's like, oh, it's a compliment. Oh, okay. I don't, like I say, Skip, I'm with you. The thing that whether you like the Patriots or you don't, the way they've structured their situation, Mr. Kraft is here, Coach Belichick, and then the players. Only one time in 19 years, I believe there's ever been a disagreement or
I agree.
A disagreement that got to the magnitude that Mr. Kraft says, okay, Bill, you will do this.
And Seth Wickersham wrote about that a year ago. Go ahead.
Yes. Mr. Kraft knows what he knows. He's a businessman. He had to be a businessman because how else would he have enough capital to be able to purchase the Patriots? So this is what I know.
Razors. Yeah.
Yes, this is what I know. Let me hire somebody that knows more than what I know. Now, I don't believe Coach Belichick handled him like Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells didn't want him around. Mr. Kraft's like, well, wait a minute. I understand you're cooking the grocery, but I'm buying the damn groceries. So I'm going to see what you cooking in these pots.
That's true.
I'm sure Mr. Kraft comes around with Coach Belichick. He doesn't offer anything. Like you go in the kitchen. Sometimes you go, my grandpa used to go in the kitchen. Now, we couldn't go in the kitchen, Skip Bayless, and look at my grandma's pots. But Papa could come in the kitchen, open the stove, look in the pots, no problem.
You realize a watch pot never boils. Remember that?
Hey,
You just got to check it out.
I'm sure ain't nobody tell Barney Porter that. But if the kids come in there and look at the pot, Granny, what you cooking? Boy, you got slapped in your mouth. Boy, close that stove. But Mr. Kraft can come around.
He just wants to be in the loop. He just needs, just keep me updated. What's happening?
Yeah, updated. Yeah. He ain't trying to say, hey, Bill, I really like this offensive lineman out of Texas. I think we ought to give him a look. That's not what he's doing. And I can assure you, if he were to have dinner, I don't even know how often Mr. Kraft were to go to dinner. Well, they'd never pick it in the top 15 anyway. So they go to dinner, and I'm not going to take a guy, Skip, because I didn't like the handshake he gave me. Really?
And he's running the football team, right? So to your point, Kraft Belichick, Brady, they've been together for 19 years doing exactly the same way, which is why they have flourished.
Yep.
Drew Brees, Sean Payton, they have been together all 13 years Drew has been in New Orleans, right?
Yes.
They came in together.
Correct.
And they're still together, and they're going forward into a 14th year, right?
Yes.
Has it worked?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worked
and they
pretty
got
well.
the same GM.
Yeah, same GM. And they had the Benson family, obviously, but they weren't involved. They weren't meddling, to my knowledge. I don't think they ever did.
I don't think
right?
so either. Nope.
Tom Benson, I don't think he ever wanted anything to do with football.
Nope.
He would speak for the team. He was involved in politics and whatnot, but not football. And in this case, you have a Jimmy Haslam who just looks worse and worse because I thought Greg Williams did a pretty good interim job, right?
Yes.
And I thought he really did a good job with the defense. And all of a sudden, he is out.
Greg Williams got less credit for being the head coach than Freddie Kitchens got for being the offensive coordinator.
How's that possible?
I mean, can you imagine Josh McDaniels receiving more credit for the team's success than Bill Belichick?
No, I can't. And then you took Freddie Kitchens, who's been in the background his whole professional life, right?
Yes.
And all of a sudden, you have made him the head coach, and you've taken him away in part from what he did best, work closely with Baker Mayfield. Now you can't work closely with Baker Mayfield, right?
Yes.
So, and back to real quick, your story about Johnny Manziel, and I was so close to this.
Sure.
Remember, Dow Loggins was the quarterback coach who loved Johnny.
Right.
He was the big proponent. But remember, the GM
Ray Farmer
did not love Johnny.
Nope.
The head coach, Mike Patton, did not love Johnny. And at the last second, as Johnny fell through the first round toward whatever they had, 23,
22, I think
22, whatever it was, all of a sudden, Dow gets a text from Johnny that says, let's wreck the league together. Well, that's a mouthful because you've never done anything except win a Heisman Trophy, right?
Right.
And so he shows the text to the owner who says, take him right now. We don't, and they were furious about it. Ray Farmer was especially furious. And then Dow Loggins made the mistake of going on he's from Arkansas. He goes on an Arkansas radio station and tells this story.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Johnny Manziel's coming in and everybody's saying, oh, kid, so you're going to wreck the league?
Right.
Okay, good luck with that.
And so now he's the hand-picked guy for the owner.
Yeah.
So how soon? Now it's just a matter of time. We got to play him.
You're going to fail. It's not going to work.
The expectations alone.
I mean, look at all the head coaches. He fires Chudzinski after 1 year. I mean, Skip, you can't have 6 coaches and 3-4 general managers and then think you're going to have success.
No.
It's not going to work like that.
Listen, Baker Mayfield's going to have a hard time with this. It's just too dysfunctional. It's too all over the map, and you don't know from day to day what's going to happen next.
Because he doesn't know. Yeah. It all depends on how he wakes up on a given morning.
Hopefully he can bring some order to the mix. Because it was so positive to see the growth.
It was.
But then when we read this, it kind of leaves that sour taste in our mouth that we had before the season.
Well, that kid might be tougher than we thought because if he's succeeding after all this that's what's going on, he's much tougher than we previously thought.
It's a different story. Guys, where's LeBron?
Where
coming
is
back?
he?
Is he coming
Do
back?
you know where he is?
Yep.
I don't know.
I'd like your inside information, Shannon, because we
happened?
would like him to come back so we can talk about him. We're going to tell you the latest we know now.
Maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, maybe Tuesday.
No mercy.
The Lakers host my Wolves tonight, but they will not have LeBron on the court for the 15th straight game. The Lakers are 5-9 without LeBron and are currently out of the playoffs. However, they will have Rajon Rondo back, and yesterday he was asked about their chances of making the playoffs and said this: we've got LeBron. I don't know when's the last time he missed the playoffs. We're joined by FS1 NBA analyst Eddie House. Eddie, are you surprised LeBron has been out this long?
No, not at all. Not with that injury. First off, good morning. But
Good morning.
Not with that injury. The groin injury, we know, you see it happen in baseball. The hamstring happens in baseball, and spring training guys are out for about a month. Hamstring, groin, adductor, hip flexor, these are sensitive injuries, and you have to be careful with them because the minute you feel like you can go, you could just re-aggravate it, re-injure it, then you back to square one. So with these sensitive injuries, I had an adductor and a hip flexor. You have to wait until you're 100% because you will. It feels like you're good, but it's certain movements that you do. You're like, oh, that's not an everyday movement that you do in your walk of life. But in basketball, you do that movement, and sometimes those muscles aren't ready for that. So I'm not surprised at all. You look at what they did. They went from 3rd to 9th right now, right? They have 28 games left. Minnesota ahead of them, and they have with the opponents that are in front of them, 2 against Golden State, 2 games left, 2 against Utah, 1 against OKC, Houston, and also Portland. So they have
good thing or a bad thing?
I think they have an opportunity because you get 2 games right there.
Game momentum, right?
Yeah, and
Really?
and so with him coming back, I think that it's obviously they're going to be a whole lot better and they're going to be able to win games. But you want to be 100%. You want to hit the ground running. You don't want to have because if he comes back too early and tweaks that thing, their season's over with.
Over. OVA, over. And you heard what Rondo say. They asked him about the playoffs. He said, we got Braun. That's what everybody.
That's not exactly what he
Close
said.
Close enough. You know what he meant. He was parsing his words.
Yeah.
But we got Braun, and nobody else does, Skip. Look,
Do you have him or
Yeah,
not? I want to know.
Get back.
Huh?
I keep telling you.
Yeah.
The injury
Maybe
was gonna,
Sunday, maybe
for a while,
Tuesday.
the injury was going to sideline him for a month. You re-aggravate, you come back early, and as Eddie said, you re-aggravate it, you're going to double the time that you originally scheduled to miss. We don't want that, Skip. But when he come back, he'll hit the ground running. Watch us.
Running or
Watch how it happens.
limping? I wanna know.
Stop it. Watch how it happens. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Ding, 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 ding. 3.
It's a quick climb.
Yes.
Really?
In no time. Go on a hot streak. You know what's going to
Is that
happen.
what you're predicting?
Prediction.
They're only 4.5 out
Out
of
of
the
the
third
third
spot. Out of the
seed.
third spot.
Are you sticking with third?
So basically, Skip Bayless, I can see this thing in a week. We be in the 5th seed in a week.
Well, what about the third seed? You think you're going
And
to
2
finish in the third seed?
They got a chance to do that.
Yeah.
If
We
they
won't
come
be
back,
no worse.
they was just there. They
We
was just
won't
there.
be worse. We're not 4. We're going to be 3 or 4. We're not going to be 5th or 6th. That's for sure.
So forgive me for this, but I got to dredge this up one more time because I still don't get this.
What
The
don't you
day
get?
after he popped his groin or whatever he did to his groin against Golden State on Christmas, the next day he MRI'd it. He got the 3D, and they checked it out. And according to LeBron's tweet, it was not that bad because this is the tweet. If we could see it right now, please, again. He tweeted this. I didn't make this up. Dodged a bullet! Exclamation point. Sheesh! Then give thanks to the Almighty above.
Almighty, raise hands.
Hashtag
God is
back
good.
in no time. What is no time? What is the definition of no time?
A month.
2 days?
A month.
3 days?
A month.
A week, maybe?
Didn't I tell you
Okay,
that?
but he said he dodged a bullet.
did.
Well, it sounds like he took a bullet in the thigh.
No,
I don't
come on,
know.
stop it.
Does it not?
No.
Does it not?
Back in a couple
I
weeks.
don't get it. He's Iron Man. So I'm setting his bar at the highest level because he's been virtually indestructible. I'm knocking on wood for him. I don't wish this on anybody, but he's shown me, as I told you the other day, Lonzo Saturday night just turned his ankle. It's just some routine. He's crossing the lane, his ankle turns over. I've seen LeBron do that 5 times, and he just like shakes it off and trots a little bit, and all of a sudden he's just going full speed again.
Yeah.
Iron Man. Lonzo Ball, 4 to 6 weeks. I don't know what he did.
Well, so in other words, what you're trying to tell me, if Lonzo had LeBron's injury, he's out for the year.
Maybe, but again, how do you miss 15 games after you tweeted, I dodged a bullet?
Well,
I don't get that.
I think what he's saying about he dodged a bullet, he didn't tear anything.
Right. He didn't tear
anything.
bone.
All he does, he has a strain. It's a severe strain. Whew, I'm glad it wasn't a tear. He dodged a bullet.
Dodged the bullet.
Is it possible he's taken a page out of the playbook of that number 2 up in Toronto? He's really. Wait. We're going to talk about him in just a minute for real. We're going to hit him head on. But just in the big picture, is it possible all the stars in the league are sitting back saying, maybe he's figured it out? Because you just tell your management, I'm sorry, I'm just resting for a while. Did LeBron in his 16th season just decide, you know what? It's a grind, man. It's a long way home.
LeBron, you know,
There's no way he did that because, to fall out of 3rd to 8th, if he was able to play and feel, because you don't want to get too far back. Even though it says 4.5, you don't want to get too far back in the West because you know how competitive it is in that conference. He's not resting. I don't think he's looking like, oh, man, they don't have the luxury to rest. He doesn't have the luxury to rest. Every game that they miss, the team seems like they get worse and worse. They have no leadership on the floor.
None.
They don't.
Well, they lost Lonzo, and he was all they had.
Well, yeah, but I mean, sometimey. He was sometimey. He picked his spots. I would like to see him be a little bit more assertive as a leader out there, but maybe that's not in his makeup. But they definitely need him back. He's not resting. If he could get out there, put it like this: if it was April, and it was crunch time for them to try to make playoffs, he would have been playing 2 weeks ago. If it was the playoffs, he wouldn't have missed no games because he would have been able to try to push through that, do whatever you can to do. Plus, they got them days in between.
Rest.
Yeah, you got the rest days. So
Yep.
he would have been out there. So he's just getting healthy for this push. So these last 28 games, so they can make this push and
Is
try
it
to move up the
possible
slide.
they're just letting the narrative play out that he's positioning
Stop
himself?
this.
Can't
Wait,
lose games trying to let no narrative play out.
Trying to position himself to make a run at MVP.
I get it, Skip.
Okay.
We're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
But we don't
can't
write
script it
stories
like that.
We don't write stories like that.
Well,
we just
you
come
might.
and we do it. We do it.
Okay, but
and the story writes itself.
Okay, but you might have written it for yourself if you're right about what you're saying and you think they're going to wind up the 3rd seed. That's an MVP climb
Okay.
right there.
That is,
right?
Some things just line up for you like that.
Okay.
He that guy, you know what I mean? It just happens for you. You know what I mean? It lined up for him. Now, the injury was unfortunate, right? But it lined up for him to have a hell of a comeback and possibly be in a conversation for MVP. It just happened.
We'd have probably been the 3. If he had not gotten hurt, we'd probably been the 2 seed now.
I don't know about that.
I feel comfortable.
I don't know
saying
about
it.
saying the 2 seed.
I feel very comfortable.
You'll be on their heels. You'll be on the 2 seeds heels, but I don't think you'll be 2.
We're not losing to Houston, and we're not.
Well, they should have beaten Houston without LeBron.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
And
well,
they should have beat Sacramento.
Okay, but Houston doesn't have Capella and they haven't had CP3. Let them get right. Let them get healthy. They're going to be a force.
Well, good. That means James Harden can't shoot all the balls because that means Capella going to get some in Chris Paul.
His turnovers will go down.
Hey, let Oklahoma City get Robertson back, and they're already maybe the best defensive team, and they will be
Robertson
the best.
ain't Robertson. Yeah, all I'm going to do is foul him. Let him go to the free throw
Okay,
line.
well,
Okay, so I don't know if they can make enough shots, though. They're a good defensive team. I don't take that away, but
their
the
defense is their offense.
if they can't knock down some threes and you trading deuces for trays,
Yep.
you know you're going to lose games.
Don't worry about O'Brien. O'Brien
Simple,
got
man.
this. O'Brien, look at O'Brien. Look at that. Ooh, look at Brian clean, too. He clean with that old king crown necklace
Maybe
on.
you can get them to make a poster of that, and you can put it on your wall.
I mean,
Bro,
I feel like you
O'Brien
probably
clean.
have
Look
posters.
at Brian, got a hair full of hair. Look at O'Brien with all that hair growing. Your hair been growing since he been out, too.
Fan over here.
Ain't got no worries.
You sure that's his hair?
That's his hair. There you go, Skip. See,
I
wait.
just asking.
You
I
ain't
don't know
just-
for
What you
sure.
mean you just asked? You
Well,
know that's
we
his
had
hair.
we had Dion on the other
Yeah,
day.
he got that thing looking good. Look at that. And look at that thing that came in. Nice.
Yeah, it looked like it's coming
Braun
back.
got a hair full
I hope,
of hair.
yeah, it looked like it's coming back. That might be the angle. That might be the angle, but it looked good. He might keep that angle right there for him.
Nah, you hate that.
I'm not hating on him. I'm saying he want to keep. I'm not
What you
hating.
mean the angle? He can't stay like that all the time.
Huh?
That was LeBron do that. LeBron do.
Stop.
Okay,
That would be-
LeBron do this like that.
No.
Yeah.
Since he's been out, you've been stalking him? Or
No.
Seen him in
You
Beverly
know,
Hills?
Nah, he gonna be good. Watch us Sunday. Come back and drop a triple dub out the gate.
On Phoenix?
They got-
Yeah, on Phoenix.
Really?
On Phoenix.
You know Phoenix. You go to a lot of the games.
Yeah.
We're gonna drop
Phoenix
a triple
is
dub
horrible.
on y'all.
Yeah.
Phoenix. I hate to
that
say it
bad?
because I watch so many games. Yeah, they're young and at times they don't play hard. And that's one thing, you can't be young and not playing.
Yeah.
Effort got to come every single night. So you could live with guys making mistakes and young mistakes and learning, but not playing hard all the time is one of the things I think that.
Well, that's one thing with the Lakers.
And you can't coach effort. That's usually got to be in you.
Yeah.
So true.
LeBron come back, he get his thing right.
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll be the fourth seed. 2
Three?
weeks.
Three?
At least they
Well, he gotta
Rondo
get back first. That's what he
Step in
gotta
the right
do.
Direction.
He coming out the gate with a triple dub.
And it is big that they got Rondo back. They got a guy
is
that could
big.
calm things
We mentioned
down.
the
Yeah,
leadership.
run that
Leadership.
bench unit.
Without Lonzo, I mean, that's going to be big.
And you know they got dance on them, Lance.
Lance to make them dance.
You know, it's interesting, though, because there's this other guy.
What guy?
Number 2.
Yeah,
I think his
number
name.
Oh,
yeah,
Kawhi.
that's his name. He
Oh,
also
Kawhi.
has been missing from the court a
His
bit
name
more.
will not be spoken on this
Yeah,
show.
I
Good man
have a
averaging
feeling
25.
that Skip has something
Dr.
to say
Evil.
about it next.
Dr. Evil.
So Kawhi Leonard, well, he sat out again last night and didn't play, and the Raptors lost to the Pacers. It's the 4th straight game. Kawhi has sat out for what they're saying is rest. The Raptors are still 11-3 without number 2 in the lineup this season. I heard you say that, Shannon, under your breath. We're joined once again by Eddie House, but first, Skip.
Yes.
I mean, we got to get your opinion. We're talking about number
Yes.
2 here. What is going on here?
I told you so. When the trade went down, when the Spurs' hand was finally so forced, they had to ship number 2 up north to Toronto. I said, good riddance. And I said, good luck, Toronto, because trust me on this, number 2 is a weird dude. And number 2 quit on the Spurs last year because they wouldn't let him get away with what Toronto is now forced to let him get away with. They wouldn't let number 2 get away with faking or at least exaggerating a quote-unquote injury, which was no more than a bruised thigh. And yet the truth was he just wanted to rest for stretches last year. And he wound up playing 9 out of 82 games for a Spurs team that still had Tony Parker and still had Manu Ginobili playing at a high level. And that team could have made a run last year if it had its quote-unquote best player who flat out quit and forced his way out of town and up to Toronto. And now Toronto is stuck with him. And ESPN reported yesterday they're doing everything in their power to accommodate this guy because they want this guy to re-sign long-term with Toronto. And I'm going to say good luck with long-term because he has figured out he can beat the system. He'll play 3 or 4 games at a high level, and he'll get some MVP consideration. He'll get a little buzz going, and all of a sudden, he just doesn't feel like playing. And my man, Tony Parker, called him out late last year.
Tony needs to sit down.
Yeah. Tony Parker had a ruptured quadriceps muscle, ruptured it, tore it in 2 in the playoff game against Memphis a year back. And Tony Parker rushed back because he thought they had a chance to win last year, and he jeopardized his career rushing back. And so finally, he came out late in the year in April and said, my injury was 100 times worse than that guy's.
You never compare injuries.
Okay, but it was a bruised thigh. And again, now he's seeing ghosts. Now he's imagining he's more hurt than he is. But he's also figured out, I can just beat the system here because I can play whenever I really feel like it. And you know what? Somewhere Michael Jordan is just rolling his eyes over this because this guy is getting away with near murder. Way to go, Toronto. He's yours.
No, he not.
Yep.
You need to stop
Yep.
this, Skip. But he hurt. Plus, he need to rest. He said he's living his best right. Skip, I ain't going back and forth with you about no Kawhi. Now, he's done moved on from San Antonio, and you and Pop still got it in from this guy.
He doesn't. I do.
He was never going to win the MVP for the very reason you outlined. He doesn't play back-to-backs, and they're 11-3 without him. So you're
Why
never.
don't you play him back-to-back?
What
What are you doing?
You know, if you don't play back-to-back and the team is 11-3 without you, you're not winning no MVP.
That's a good basketball team.
Yeah,
that team's
good.
got some
Now,
talent.
if they were 3-11 without you, now you have an argument.
true.
But considering that for no apparent reason you've missed 14 games, and LeBron James with an injured groin has missed 15, you're not getting no MVP because the voters are like, hold on.
You're disqualified.
You're 27. At least they can look at LeBron like LeBron has played 16 years. He's played basically at least 75 games every year, finals after finals after finals with Olympics sprinkled in. They can get him being nicked at this point in time of his career. But Kawhi, at 27, doesn't play back-to-backs, as you said, missed basically 5 months of the season last year. Nah, he was never going to win the MVP.
He just took 4 games off for no apparent reason.
But this is what they have.
What?
This is what they have to do, Skip. Because if they don't,
you
know he's the type of guy that if you push, he gonna walk.
You're held hostage.
Skip, he went through something traumatic. I read up on him. You know, he saw his father killed in front of him. So and his mom says he was never the same kid after that.
And then his uncle took over all of his business affairs and basically runs his professional life.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you said something about Toronto accommodating him. What stars don't get accommodated by their team? They all every team does something to accommodate their stars. If it's less practice time, while everybody else is out on the court grinding, sometimes guys are sitting on the bike.
Have access.
Whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but the game's the thing. You know this, and I know that. If you were on that team right now, you would not be happy with that guy.
I mean, if we're 11-3 and we still rocking and say I'm getting a few more minutes and a few more buckets, I'd be happy. I'd be fine with that.
Okay, but in the big picture, you're
as long
starting to wonder.
If he's going to be there in the big picture. If he's there, I think he will be. And this ain't nothing new. Pop rests players all the time. You know, he was
that
the one
was his choice.
But listen, he's the one that started it. So he started it and planted that like, oh, you know what? Maybe I can save my legs a little bit. So he just picked up what Pop was putting down.
At the slightest, you said Pop would rest guys if they had the slightest thing.
Yeah.
So Kawhi's looking at, I got a little.
Okay, remember.
If the coach can make that decision, I'm going to make the decision.
They rested him for the first half of the year. And finally, what did I tell you? the most conservative, conventional, player-friendly medical staff in sports cleared him in January. 100% you can play. And what did he do? No, I'm still hurt. I got a thigh bruise.
Well, if somebody clear you don't mean that you still don't feel right. I mean, everybody heals different.
And plus,
Everybody.
be old school. You know, Kawhi Master, he got them Duke braids and everything. So, you know, Kawhi is not conventional.
You know what? I don't think he's old. I think he's new, brand new school.
No.
This is a new school.
Skip, the man driving a Chevy Blazer.
Okay.
Four-door.
Yeah,
I had one of them in 1990. And he's driving one in 2018.
Okay, I got you, but when your era's players came up, they just played. They just played. They played how many times did Jordan play all 82 games? Like 9
We're talking about a grown man league. Now this league is so much younger than it was 10 years ago, you know?
It's the AAU baby league, right?
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Basically, a lot of guys are top AAU kids, and then they go 1 year, and then they're in the NBA.
You have a son who's becoming a product, but you're trying to toughen him up. You're trying to get him out of that
he's
spoiled mentality.
Yeah, it's tough too. But he's not really spoiled. I mean, we could say he's spoiled, but he doesn't walk around and act like it. You know what I mean? He's usually the hardest worker on the court and stuff like that. But I have a theory.
By the way, he's a senior in high school and is going to Arizona State, where you went. Okay.
Yep. I got a theory for Kawhi Leonard sitting out the last 4 games, right? The Suns, right, last place in the West. Grizzlies, second to last. And the Kings, 10th. And then they lost to the Pacers. But that next game after the Pacers is the Beard. He coming. Get some rest.
Lock him
We
down.
not helping.
He gonna lock him down. I bet Beard don't score.
I can't wait to see this.
Bet a case Beard don't get 30.
I can't wait to see this. You got the
Don't
best
get
defender.
30. Don't get 30. I bet a case.
Seriously?
If Kawhi plays, the Beard ain't getting 30.
I'll take that right now.
Woo, Kawhi. Oh, clock.
So you got the best defender against the best one-on-one player. I can't wait to watch this.
And when he come out there in them orthopedics, them New Balance he got on, man, Kawhi.
I wasn't gonna speak on them.
Oh, right there, D him up.
They better have some grip.
So I'm going to take, let me get this straight. James Harden has to score 30 or more points.
30 or more, or 31.
Okay. I don't even know where the game is. Is it at Toronto?
It's in Toronto.
I don't have that right here.
I'm not sure.
That would change it. In Houston.
It's in Houston. I got you.
No,
Yes, I got it. I'm
So
good.
he got to get
I'm
31
good.
or 30.
You proposed the bet and I took
Shannon,
it.
you set it
Was
up.
that, was that not? You
But I thought
said
you
it.
were
I
gonna beat
took
Toronto.
it.
30 or 31.
31. You got to get 31 points.
So over
31.
30.
No, 30.
No, 31. 31.
said
No,
over
31.
30 is a
Give
push.
him
said
a one.
over
Give him a
30.
one. Give him
Okay,
a one.
for a case.
I better not lose on a point.
I will, if you do, I'll bring the case if it comes down to 1 point.
Just think I got even because you took a bet. That wasn't no Tom Brady. You gonna be 6, Skip.
So y'all not interested in that matchup? What James been doing and how great defensively he is, the best. I mean, that's gonna be.
well rested.
I can't wait to watch that.
D him up.
I got this. I got
Kawhi go D him up, and then they go throw.
I think that's what Kawhi was saying. I got this. I'll rest these 4 games, and I don't want any
so
help.
He was pointing toward James Harden.
When
But
he-
I got
Because James Harden was
starting
starting to put in his work this last month. He's like, oh, wait, when we play them? Oh, there they are. Oh, there's a little soft spot in the schedule. I'll relax here, get my legs together.
That's how
Make
Jordan-
sure my New Balance got grip.
Michael
I'm
Jordan
good.
used to do that. He used to look at the schedule and say, you know what? The Knicks are coming. They're so physical. Or Detroit's coming.
Because you know
the
why?
Bad boys.
Because
wait, I
that's
gotta
a
take
different
off
era.
5
We just got
games.
done talking about
What
different
are you
eras,
talking
though.
about?
We just got done talking about different eras, though. It's different eras. That era is totally different.
And you know what else was different? Scottie Pippen guarding the best player on the opposing
No, but
team.
Jordan was a
Hey,
defender. We can't
hey.
Jordan's
wait.
defended. Come on, man.
How
You
many
can't say nothing about him.
Wait a second. How many Defensive Player of the Year awards has LeBron won? How about 0? How about Michael did win
We was
one
talking about
Defensive
Kawhi.
Player
We
of
was
the Year?
talking about Kawhi
He got.
and Jordan. LeBron, he's singing.
You see what I'm talking about? You talking about that?
Man, every time.
But
you find a way to slip it in.
You know what's gonna happen.
I don't know.
Case.
Case? I got a case.
That's a tough one,
he's
man.
running over here.
Because you get them free throws, man. You got to forget he get
Kawhi played
called.
D. Kawhi played D without them fouling.
If they switch somehow in transition, he going to go to that line. I bet you go to the line over 10 times.
We gonna put
easily.
We
Siakam.
might be in trouble for you.
That's why I'm saying he's in trouble because he's going to go to the line
Oh,
over
now
10
you're going
times.
to put
And a little bit.
Siakam on him.
And a
Oh,
little bit.
so you're going to
Rotate.
Keep a fresh
Serve.
body on him at all
Yes,
times.
sir.
Then why did he need to take off 4 games? He's
Right.
got a 3-headed monster, right?
That's his theory.
Yeah, I liked yours.
My theory. That's my
Thank
theory.
you for joining
sure.
us. It makes a lot of sense. Let's see what he does. This is going to be interesting. So why are Tom Brady's teammates calling him an old-ass man? Let's count how many times I've been saying that about good old Tom lately. We'll discuss next.
No mercy.
Hey everyone, Jenny Taft here, and thank you for listening to the Undisputed podcast. If you like what you hear, then you should subscribe to the First Things First podcast featuring Chris Carter, Nick Wright, and Jenna Wolf. The First Things First pod breaks down the biggest stories in the world of sports, so if you like the NFL, NBA, college sports, then you're going to like this podcast, the First Things First podcast. The First Things First podcast drops Monday through Friday with a special weekend edition as well. And be sure to catch the show live on TV before us every weekday at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, back to our show.
No mercy.
Those Patriots, they're favored in the Super Bowl, but they've been using the underdog card throughout the playoffs. Brady has already said, quote, "Everybody thinks we suck." And Julian Edelman was selling Bet Against Us shirts. Edelman emphasized that underdog point in the AFC Championship game when he yelled in Brady's face after a touchdown, quote, "You're too effing old. You're too old." I tried to sell it as well as he did, but, I mean,
That worked.
the video was great. Shannon,
Yes.
what do you make of this?
Man, this is so played out, Skip. I'm so tired of this. Now, here's a team that prides itself in shutting out the outside noise. Clearly, they don't shut out the outside noise. And you're not the underdog. You've gone to 9 straight AFC title games. You find yourself in 4 of the last Super Bowls. How are you the underdog? Nobody's buying that.
Well, they were the betting.
Oh,
underdog.
stop it, Skip.
Well, they were.
So the one time, so let me get this straight. One time in 955 games, they're the underdog. And so now everybody's like, oh my God, they're the hope. Skip, this is not the U.S. hockey against the Soviets in 1980 in Lake Placid. It's not that. So they need to stop this. I get it having a chip on you. But let me ask you a question. Where was he shouting when they played Tennessee? Where was he shouting when they played Miami? I didn't see any of this in Jacksonville. What about Detroit?
Who's in the Super Bowl?
That's my point. Oh, now you're too old. I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear any of that in them losses.
I heard it being shouted at me across the table after those losses. I heard the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe and the Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson basically say he's just too old.
It ain't about me, about him.
Huh?
I would yell it into the microphone, though.
It's a lot about you. You realize you are partly responsible for
No,
this.
Rob is.
Huh?
Rob is? You take no responsibility?
Rob Parker?
Yep.
You guys are in the Hall of Fame, both of you.
Rob
you both
said
said it.
Mexico. I ain't saying nothing, but I'm leaving.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's overdone. Is it a little corny? Is it a little,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it's almost lame what they're doing. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But when Tom Brady said everybody thinks we suck, he believes that. And I think a whole lot of people thought they sucked going into the playoffs, including you.
Well, just what you
Right.
said that last year when Lane Johnson. A lot of people think Bill Belichick is smug. A lot of people think Bill Belichick, the way they run their thing is not right. But you got tired of hearing it. It's lame. Okay, I'm tired of hearing it. It's lame. Go play football.
What did I tell you about Julian Edelman after I heard about selling the shirts? I said, how can you do that? Because you've taken a battle cry, bet against us. It's like a challenge. I dare you to bet against us. And now you're marketing your battle cry on the week of the AFC Championship game on, I don't know if they're T-shirts or shirts or whatever they are, but you're trying to sell them on your own website.
Yes.
And you even suggested Bill Belichick might have said something about that to Julian Edelman, like you better cool that.
Yeah. Skip, look, I get it. Because there are a lot of things that's said and guys use it to motivate them and but it never, for me, what someone said, it never came out. See, my job was not to prove you wrong. My job was to prove me right. Because I know what I had put into it in the offseason. I know the way I prepared myself. I know the meeting time. I know what the effort that I had put into it.
Yep.
So I was cool. Say what you want to say. But you know what? We're going to play the game. You know, battle crowd, you're too old. Okay.
Okay, but what did Julian Edelman do on Sunday in Kansas City? He backed it up, right?
Yeah.
Again, I thought he dropped or didn't failed to catch the second Brady interception, but he caught 7 balls out of 10 targets for 96 yards, and he caught 2 big ones in overtime. The first 2 3rd and 10s went to Julian Edelman. So at least he walked the talk.
Yeah.
The bet against us, he came to play and he showed you I can still do that.
Yes.
And so he's just trying to inspire his 41-year-old quarterback, because you can attest to this. It's harder and harder to dredge up the motivation when you've been to 9 AFC. Is that what it is now? 9
straight.
Yeah, 9 straight. It's hard to keep dredging up the emotion, because football is an emotion-driven game.
Yes.
You know, you better be really
Oh,
ready.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
And oftentimes, the team readier to play, just mentally, psychologically, they win the football game, because they can, like my Cowboys, for whatever reason, they weren't ready to play in the first 2 quarters at LA Coliseum, right?
You can motivate by fear.
Yeah.
You can motivate by money.
Yeah.
All of those things
Okay.
will come and go.
All right.
Only self-motivation.
Okay.
So, however Tom Brady, Julian Edelman saying that, Tom Brady has bigger things that motivates him.
Okay, but he needs to hear through the grapevine, his own grapevine, through his eyes and ears, that Shannon Sharpe thinks he's too old to be playing. That Eric Dickerson goes so far as to call him an old-ass man who should have retired.
I don't think he's too old to be playing. I said he didn't deserve to go to the Pro Bowl, and he didn't have a top 5 season. Now, age had nothing to do with that.
Well, I think you do think age had something to do with that, because,
Okay, then.
well, when we first started Undisputed, you said this year would be his last year, and now you've amended it to next year.
I was counting on Coach Belichick getting his wishes.
Ah.
But since Coach Belichick didn't
Changed
get his
your
wishes,
Yeah. So Tom Brady won again. He won on the field, and he won in the front
he
office,
did.
right?
So 20 is it.
20 is it?
20 is it.
It is not going
I'm
to
putting
be
up 15 cases.
Really? Well, you're going to just flood me with Diet
No,
Mountain Dew.
no.
You know,
No.
Do you know how many of those cases Tom Brady has won me?
He won you a bunch.
Like a swimming pool, seriously. A Bel Air swimming pool full of dew.
Yeah.
Thanks to
Tom?
Tom Brady.
Well,
Way to go.
I get half of them back if I win 15 in one fell swoop.
Yeah. Well, how are you going to do that?
When Tom Brady retires after year 20,
After you're 20? I'm willing to take that bet.
We're going to have to
I
wait
am.
a while for that.
might get about 2 or 3 on their Super Bowl.
You think so? Well, guess who you're going to have to take?
Ain't no problem with that.
Not the
There ain't
Patriots.
no problem.
Yeah.
People are sick of the Patriots
They
going
are.
to the Super Bowl, but Tom doesn't care. The players don't
Exactly.
care. Even
Well,
some NFL
they
players.
care because it fuels them.
It's
Yeah.
a
No.
mentality of we don't care because we're going to do it again.
Right.
And who cares if they're underdog?
Right.
I mean, they're just going to find a way to get it done. But what
Yeah.
I was getting at is even an NFL players are sick of it. And one guy
Yep.
took it out on the Patriots
Took it out.
mascot.
Did.
We'll explain next.
No mercy.
Time for our final topic of the day. There are a lot of people who don't like the Patriots, but Jet safety Jamal Adams took it to another level yesterday at practice for the Pro Bowl. Adams drilled the Patriots mascot to the amusement of the fans and some of his AFC teammates. Skip, was this funny or not funny?
This was so not funny.
Oh,
It was
my
sad,
goodness,
and it
yeah.
was scary, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Jamal Adams got a running start and delivered a crushing blow,
wasn't
flattening
crushing.
it was to the mascot, and then he celebrated that. So get this straight here for me. You can't beat the Patriot players. You can't knock them down, but you take it out on the poor mascot. You could have hurt the kid. I assume it's a kid. I
Yeah,
don't
they're
know.
grown as an adult.
Yeah, we don't know. That is flat out weak. That's why you're a Jet.
Skip, you know what? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I thought it was funny because he didn't. Skip, you make it seem like he Terry Tated him off his linebacker, like he drilled him with his shoulder and his
I think he
midsection.
did. He was running, man.
He was galloping, and then he kind of hugged him and
He
fell on
didn't
top
hug.
of
He flattened him.
No, he didn't flatten him.
He
Skip, come on, Skip,
flattened
have
him.
some fun.
Have some fun at the
Yeah.
expense of the poor mascot.
It's like Charles Barkley in Rocky when he was at the Denver when he played with Portland. Not
Okay.
Portland, he played with the Suns.
Yeah.
He and Rocky had this relationship. Look at Robin Lopez. He gets into it with all the mascots.
Yeah, but he
It's just
didn't
good
knock
thing.
him down
Yeah,
like
he did.
that.
Oh, Skip.
Come on.
He DDT'd one of them. And Rocky, they be going, guys have fun with the mascot. That's what they're there for, entertainment.
Good luck to the Jets.
Oh, you know what, Skip? You ought
It's
to be
hard
ashamed
enough
of
to be
yourself.
a mascot. I feel like that would hurt.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.